Transitional housing, mentoring, and job training. Hot Wheels Monster Trucks Live is coming to Dignity Health Arena this weekend. The Glow and Fire Tour runs Saturday and Sunday. Trucks including Bigfoot, Bone Shaker, and Mega Rex, along with freestyle motocross riders. Kern County property owners are being reminded that unsecured property taxes are due by August 31st. Those are taxes on property that is not land or buildings, such as business equipment, boats, and aircraft. Payments after the deadline face a 10% penalty. A 21-year-old woman is facing a second-degree murder charge after a man was stabbed to death Monday afternoon at a home on White Lane. Police say the suspect and the victim knew each other. Temperatures begin climbing again with around 103 expected tomorrow and 106 Thursday before easing back a little Friday. And Amtrak's Gold Runner route through Kern County is getting nearly $43 million in federal money for safety and access improvements, including a new overpass in Shafter. I'm Rob Archer in the Kern Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
The rest of a month from now, this Hollywood Big Shot's going to give you what you want.
Too late. They start shooting in a week.
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
The Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hi, everybody. And a very pleasant good afternoon to you, wherever you may be, however you may be listening, however you may be streaming for those viewing on YouTube. This is the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, where we're streaming live at KERNradio.com. Chris Burdick is producing the broadcast on this 18th day of August. We got another busy show on this Tuesday. Terersa Goldner joins us at the bottom of the hour. I've not heard from the judge today, uncharacteristically. So be ready for anything, I suppose. She normally texts me in the morning and discusses our topic. But Howard Marcus will be here at 4 o'clock. We'll talk with him. There's more information and more people are speaking out, namely Hayden Panettiere's mother, her estranged mother, which kind of, makes you understand how this girl was in such grief. This young superstar, you will hear from her just months ago, and I think in the audio you will hear the pain that this girl was living with and trying to deal with. And there's another bite where she talks about her addiction, how it started at the age of 15. And then just for laughs, I got a clip from Remember the Titans, a clip with her and Denzel Washington. You remember she plays the defensive coordinator, coach's young 10-year-old daughter in a great movie. I saw several clips. She's everywhere right now. So I saw like 4 or 5 clips of Remember the Titans last night. And you forget just what a really, really good movie that was. And it's loosely based on a true story out of the Commonwealth of Virginia. But you will hear that as well. There's new information, and obviously it's the talk of Los Angeles, the bus feud that is going on over the sale of the Lakers. Jeannie Buss is refusing to let go, while every one of her other siblings, who you should know over the past, 11 years, all of these siblings that voted to sell the Buss 17.8% interest have been either sued or fired by Jeannie Buss. So if you're wondering where the family drama stems from, I don't know where it begins. I mean, only the family knows, but it began, I think, with Joey and Jesse, the boys. And, Dr. Buss, here's the deal. And I don't know if you saw Winning Team or Winning Time or what was that thing called? Winning Time. It was a docudrama that was based on Dr. Buss's purchase of the Lakers and the rise of Showtime and Magic's relationship with Dr. Buss, et cetera, et cetera. And it was a C- because it exaggerated and absolutely slandered some people, I think. They made Jerry West look like a maniacal idiot, which is so incredibly far from the truth. And they made Captain look like a sullen, angry guy. Yeah, he was a little aloof, but he was not. The players loved him, and he loved his teammate. Anyway, in the docudrama, it's accurately depicted that the genius in the Buss family, you know who the genius in the Buss family was?
The mom?
The mom, absolutely. The mother. The mom was the one that kind of manipulated Buss. Buss, to be blunt with you, was kind of broke going into his purchase, his 3-year relentless chasing of Jack Kent Cooke, who back then, when I was just a little boy, was the owner of the Kings, the Lakers. He owned the Forum. He owned everything. He owned the Washington Redskins. He was just a gigantic millionaire and was going through a very, very costly divorce and had to dump everything other than the Redskins at the time. And it was the mom that maneuvered the books and was able to do this and steal from there and bit-a-bop, bit-a-bip, bit-a-boop. And Jerry, who was literally a rocket scientist, was the math genius who picked up the baton. And it was Jerry who identified the third smartest person in the family. And who was that?
Jeannie.
Clearly, the boys are a bunch of knuckleheads, always have been. And that's why Jeannie Buss fired 2 of them back in 2017. They tried to take her to court. She won. And out of the court ruling, she emerged even more powerful over the family business than before. And then when she went in with Mark Walter, she fired, which the other 2 boys, let me get the names straight, Jesse and Jerry, I believe, didn't want to sell, so they got kicked out. So she's fired 4 of her brothers and taken her sister to court. But what she is saying is there's a codicil in the trust that says that they cannot sell without the unanimous agreement of 3 of the trustees. And guess what? Jeannie Buss happens to be one of the trustees, and she doesn't want to sell. And I say good for her. I think, again, as we talked about with Mark Walter, and the reason we think, and everybody thinks that there's something suspicious about the selling of the Lakers after 10 months, is because what do you think that franchise is going to be worth in 3 to 5 years, 7 years, 10 years? Are you kidding me? When you've got something like that, I've told you guys the story. I love telling the story. But Hilton Head Island used to be a sanctuary for African Americans. If you've ever seen the movie The Patriot with Mel Gibson, he uses it as a sanctuary for his family. That's where he hides his family. At the end of the movie with the white sands, that's Hilton Head Island. And so it was dominated by African Americans post-Civil War in the antebellum period. And that existed all the way up until the 1950s and 60s, when white folks figured out, and this was the rise of golf and Arnie and television, that we've got resort areas possible here. So they raised the taxes and basically ran out all the black folks. And my grandmother, my father's mother, had 7 sisters, and they all had property. But at the time, my dad was in med school, and my father begged and begged and begged his aunts not to sell that property. Just wait till he gets out of med school, wait till I do my residency, wait till I get out of my internship, and I will buy all the property from you. And of course, all my grand-aunts sold. And they got, like 10 grand, thinking that was big money for acres of property. And that's turned into what is one of the great resort areas of Hilton Head. So if you ever, while my father was alive, wanted to get under his skin, he just mentioned Hilton Head and property and things like that. And the only one not to sell was my grandmother, and that's why my uncle and I share property in Hilton Head. And the point is, and I've talked about this on the air, my uncle will call me periodically and say, hey, somebody's offering in this. And I'm like, no, we're not selling. It's our land. It's our property. It's Bailey property. Now, I've got nobody really to pass it along to, having no family other than my nephews. But I understand what she's talking about. It should stay in the family. And why they want to just I don't get it because Jeannie's my age, so the boys are all younger, right? So they're probably all in their 50s. I guess they just want to check out. I think it's a personal thing between them and Jeannie, personally. That's what I think. I think it's a family grudge. And they're spiting their nose for the face is what it is. And I could see that. If my sister whacked me, I'd hold a little grudge.
Oh no, actually the boys are older. Johnny and Jim are both older.
Are they really? How old are
Johnny
they?
is 69 and Jim is 66.
So maybe they just want to cash out before they croak.
Maybe.
I don't
Or
know.
they just see how much the team is going for right now and said, you know what, we're not a part of it anymore, so why not?
And they want to take away her governorship, which would last until 2030. But yeah, $2.5 billion split amongst 6 people.
That's a lot.
That's a nice chump change, Jack. That's some nice chump change. Let's go ahead and get started. When we come back, all eyes, at least politically speaking, are on the great state, the Sunshine State. Very few people mix it up, but a few do, thinking that we are the Sunshine State. But it is Florida, down there in Florida, where Byron Donalds, an African-American, is vying with the support of Donald Trump to succeed Ron DeSantis as governor. Meantime, DeSantis' lieutenant governor, Jay Collins, who DeSantis is supporting, they're the 2 top candidates. We'll talk about that. There's some congressional districts that have been realigned due to redistricting down there. So we'll talk about what Deborah, I forget what her name is, Wasserman Schultz. She now finds herself in a black district. We'll talk about that next. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 AM 1230. We stream live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. First Look with Scott Cox, morning 6 to 9 a.m.
Valley Plaza Mall has introduced a new preferred parking program to give shoppers the option of having a guaranteed upfront parking space in a section of the parking lot for a fee. And by the way, this is taken off all across the country. You want to park up close, you can, but you're going to have to pay for it.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
If you're a local businessman and you take your IT seriously, there are 2 things that you absolutely need to do. One, you need to listen to the Ralph Bailey Show on Wednesdays at 3:30 when Jennifer and Ryan Van Alstyne, owner-operators of Adaptive Networks, come in, basically talking to business folks on what you should be looking for, what should be alarm bells when people are coming back and fixing the system.
We do have Jen and Ryan tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And then I did text you about the Greek ladies. Okay.
241-0638. As I have talked about so often, we have teamed up for almost a year with American General Media and Adaptive Networks because as a radio station, we absolutely depend on our IT. So we had to go to a team that was reliable, competent, and has the best customer service in Kern County. If you're a serious business person, call the folks at Adaptive Networks at 241-0638 or hit them online at adaptive-net.com.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day. No one can beat it.
You know what annoys me? I made that stupid hotkey for your girl, and she hasn't walked by once since I made it.
What is it?
It's Lou Rawls.
A girl from Ipanema?
Yeah, girlfriend of you. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen her in a while.
She hasn't walked by once since I made the damn thing, and that includes last week. So it's like, dude, what the hell?
That's funny.
Floors, Carpet Outlet Plus can solve your pet problems for good. We also stock over 50 colors of pet.
You mushed your girl away.
Oh, shit.
Estimate. Don't forget, for the do-it-yourselfer, we also offer free next-day delivery on all qualifying stock floors. And as a bonus, go to carpetoutletplus.com and apply for 12 months no-interest financing. Carpet Outlet Plus, 3.5 blocks west of 99 on Rosedale Highway.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I haven't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owe the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house,
put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louis found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $3 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they help me, they calm me down, they make me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louis has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louis.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Like we'll see. No, I won't be afraid.
Dodgers got a big win last night, although it was marred by the highlights of our. Did you see the game at all?
No, I didn't get to catch it.
It was remarkable. We were up 11-1, and they brought in Vesey, who gave up a run. Then, in the bottom of the ninth, just to get him some confidence, they brought in Edwin Diaz, up 11-2. I'm not making up this sequence. I might have it wrong, but first hitter, base hit. Second hitter, he hit on the foot. First and second, nobody out. Third hitter, screeching line drive. Thank you, Jesus, it was right at Eddie Paez. 1 out. Third hitter, double down the line. Fourth hitter, base hit. He gave up 3 runs on, like, in 1 inning. His ERA is now above 11. It's above our closer's ERA is above 11. We are in deep doo-doo. And Eric Carroll started some mess last night. And I got a feeling the Dodgers might take his suggestion. He suggested that they send, at least he didn't say they sent him to Oklahoma City, to AAA, but he said they should send Kyle Tucker to Arizona. He dropped another fly ball. This one easier than the one he dropped at Dodger Stadium. The one he dropped at Dodger Stadium was a major league catch. In other words, everybody at the major league level makes that catch. It's a tough catch. He was going toward that damn fence, that bullpen fence, where Aaron Judge hurt himself, where Teo damn near hurt himself, where it's made of like, it's a fence. It's not a wall. And he dropped the ball. And then he just dropped just a fly ball last night. It's getting really, really bad. Meantime, the political eyes are on the Sunshine State down in Florida, where Byron Donalds, the representative, a very outspoken Trump supporter, is trying to become the first African-American governor of the state of Florida. He's taken on by Jay Collins. It's an interesting matchup because the way the media is approaching it is basically Trump versus DeSantis. Trump is supporting Donalds. DeSantis is supporting his lieutenant governor, Jay Collins. I have no idea. I don't know Florida politics. I wish I could tell you who's going to win this thing. I have absolutely no idea. I would assume it'd be Collins, only because the DeSantis administration, he's been turned out, but they've been extremely popular. I mean, remember, I was the first guy on the bandwagon in, was it 20? Yeah, it was 20, where I said DeSantis was going to be the nominee. And I was completely behind DeSantis. He had all the makings. He was a Yale guy. He was a military guy. He was a JAG officer. He was an incredible athlete at Yale. He didn't come from a very rich family. And he played baseball and studied law and was like the best hitter on their team. I kind of admired that, like kind of an little athlete. And he was a very popular governor of a great state, electorally speaking. And yet Trump just chewed him up and spit him out, as Trump is wont to do. And then there are the congressional districts that are going on in Florida, where I'm sure most of you know the DeSantis and the Florida legislature down there, it's a pretty Republican state. So they redrew that place where Democrats may have only 4 representatives coming out of there. That's why you've seen this arms race in terms of redistricting from state to state. And Sheila, what is the child's name? Sheila, come to me, Sheila. Where are you? Somewhere. Oh, no, Deborah Schultz is a longtime 12-time term Congress member who is finding herself now in a black district. She went from the 25th district to the 20th, and it's an entirely black field. She's the only white woman in the field. But, oh, God, I forgot to get the music. See if you can give me a little 2 Live Crew. I forgot to get the music. Guess who's running for this might be, is 2 Live Crew before you, Chris? Luther Campbell is running for Congress. Give me, what do you got? Give me some titles before you, because there's some things I don't think we can play, actually.
That's why I'm trying to find some clean ones first. Hold on.
Luther Campbell, for those my age, you remember 2 Live Crew. They were the first to come out with basically really nasty raps.
Banned in the USA?
No, give me something else. And really nasty videos.
Newsflash, people in the news?
No.
Man, not a myth?
No.
350 Men?
No.
Super Snoop?
No.
We definitely probably can't play Strip Club. Nation by Storm?
No.
Do the Bart?
No.
Hey Jack?
All right, give me Hey Jack. This is 2 Live Crew. How was there a date on it?
Lord. It says 1990.
There you go.
July 1990.
Let me hear it.
Oh, it does have parental advisory though.
Be ready to dump. Be ready to dump. No, we better not. You know what? Don't do it. Don't do it.
It's only 55 seconds too, so I don't know exactly what this is.
Y'all remember 2 Live Crew? It was pretty raunchy. I'll see if I can come up with a song that we can play. But he's running along with Sheila Trephillis McCormick. You remember her? She was the woman that resigned under an ethics probe. She was taking federal money and putting it in her own coffers and spending it on luxurious trips. She's now running in another district. Because remember, in Congress, you don't have to live in your district, which is the kookiest, craziest, dumbest thing. I don't know if the founding fathers came up with that or we shoved that in the Constitution somewhere, but that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. She's involved. Then they've got a 27-year-old Democratic socialist by the name of Elijah Manley. These are all black folks, by the way. They've got Dale Holness, who was the mayor of Broward County down there. And it's just a kooky, crazy congressional district with basically a bunch of crooks, a former rapper, and Deborah Wasserman Schultz, a Jewish woman in a black district. This is going to be fun to watch. And I wish I could make my typical accurate prognostications, but I don't know anything about this. And I just...
Along the bay, my girl's hair's blowing in the breeze. Her skin
Give me a sec, but I found a clean one.
90 degrees. I took her home and met the
I don't know if that's Luther, though.
I don't think it's Luther. No.
Went to Opa-laka, jumped in Luke's jet.
There are 4 of them.
Okalaka, they're the Florida guys.
Went walking downtown. We met 4 females, all who were down.
Nah, that's enough. And then there's the Alaska primary, that Senate race. I call that the Ken Mettler race. You guys remember Ken Mettler, a guy who's such a sad story, has turned into a bitter, angry keyboard warrior. He doesn't even live in this town, but he's still just on Facebook throwing shots at me and anybody that he can. It's a sad case of a guy who tried to induce a woman by the name of Shannon to get involved in her race against Shannon Grove, who was running for the very first time. And Mettler would have destroyed Shannon Grove had he played it straight, but he's a moron, as we have later found out through his activities, fighting on the streets with teenagers and allegations of sexual tapes and just the stupidity that you read on Facebook. It's not hard to read this guy and not realize there's something kooky going on there. But that's what this guy tried to do. This Danny Sullivan, who is challenging the incumbent, Dan Sullivan. And they took it to court. The court said, hey, that's his name. He ain't lying. Can't stop the man from running. So the incumbent appears on the ballot as Dan Sullivan Jr., Republican incumbent. But we'll see how that thing goes. And as we've talked about, states' rights, all 50 states can run their elections 50 different ways. And in Alaska, their primary calls for 4 of the top candidates to go to the general. So certainly the incumbent, Dan Sullivan, is going to make it. But it's just a matter, does Dan Sullivan make it to siphon off more votes in the general election? It's going to be a kooky night, but you know me, the nerd, I'm going to be up to like 12, 1 o'clock following this with John King on CNN. Who does Fox have? I forget who Fox has now, because everybody's got a board. Everybody's got a board that breaks it down from county to county. It's a fun night if you're an election geek like me. Quick timeout, headed into the back half of the hour. Terersa Goldner joins us next at the top of the hour. Our good friend Howard Marcus. In the meantime, you're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. As the primary season nears its end, attention turns to key states like Florida, Wyoming, California, and Alaska. Tuesday's primaries highlight Republican-led redistricting and battles between Democratic establishment and progressives. Scandal-plagued candidates and incumbents at risk add to the drama. These contests will shape the fiercely contested midterms this fall and offer a referendum on President Trump's second term. ABC has filed a lawsuit against the Trump administration's Federal Communications Commission, alleging violation of its First Amendment rights. Tuesday's lawsuit was a sharp escalation of the network's battle against what it sees as the administration's efforts to police its content. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 116 points, the S&P lower by 53. More details at srnnews.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Headlines from the KERN Newsroom.
I'm Bob Archer. A Kern County homeless recovery leader has helped write a new national guide for treating addiction among homeless people. Carlos Baldovinas, who runs the mission at Kern County, worked with about 24 people from around the country. The guide focuses on longer-term recovery, transitional housing, mentoring, and helping people find work. A public meeting tomorrow night will give Bakersfield residents a chance to weigh in on the city's flock license plate cameras. Police say the cameras help solve crimes. Critics raise privacy concerns. The meeting starts at 5:30 at Salon Juarez Hall. Hot Wheels Monster Trucks Live comes to Dignity Health Arena this weekend. The Glow and Fire Tour runs Saturday and Sunday. Bakersfield should reach around 100 today, with hotter weather returning tomorrow and Thursday. I'm Bob Archer in the Kern Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Is the volatility of the stock market driving you crazy? Is your retirement account sinking, yet you're getting older and you're starting to worry about, will I have enough for retirement? What about the money in the bank? These banks pay nothing these days. How do we get growth to get to retirement account? It's simple. Move into gold and silver. Want to know how to do it? Listen to my show, Striking Gold, with me, Kenny Michaels.
Are you looking for a hospital that truly cares for your health and well-being? At Good Samaritan Hospital, they provide high-quality medical detox, psychiatric services, and medical and surgical care. They accept most insurances, including Medi-Cal, Medicare, and Kern Family. They offer Kern County's longest-standing inpatient detox program with dual diagnosis that combines medical care and withdrawal management all under one roof. Learn more at GoodSamaritanHospital.com or call 661-215-7500. Good Samaritan Hospital. They care for their community.
In 2026, Bay Alarm celebrates 80 years of security. With burglar and fire alarm systems, 24/7 in-house monitoring, and local service, our promise to the Central Valley remains the same. We got you. Learn more at bayalarm.com.
Maxwell in the morning. Good till the last mic drop.
Dr. Sam Woggood, chancellor of the University of California at San Francisco, was asked, can only women get pregnant? And that was asked by Representative Mary Miller. You know what? He couldn't answer it. That's what I'm talking about. Because everybody listening to me right now knows that only women can get pregnant in the human race.
Weekdays 9 to noon, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
It's a Tuesday, and as those that are viewing on YouTube can see, Judge Teresa Goldner is live in studio. How are you, Judge?
I'm doing great, Ralph. How are you?
I'm outstanding, thank you. What are we discussing today?
Well, first I wanted to tell you about my weekend.
Tell us.
I thought you would be very impressed. At my
Share
weekend.
with the audience.
This was me and my husband's 44th wedding anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Happy
We made it
anniversary.
to 44. Can you believe that?
That's big time.
I
That's
consider
big
it 45 because we were together for a year before that, but he says it doesn't count. But
How did he ask you to be his bride?
he got on his knees.
No, we need
Me
more than that.
and
We need
asked
more
him
than
that.
that. Now we need more than that. We need more than that. We need more than that.
He just looked at me,
Did you go
and
to
I said
dinner?
yes.
Where were you? What was the situation? Had you discussed marriage? Was it surprising? Come on,
let's see,
Teresa.
let's see.
Let's go.
Well, we were in our last year of law school.
Okay.
At the end of our last year. Well, actually, yeah. No, wait. When was it? Last year of law school. And we were actually roommates. We were platonic roommates. I swear we were platonic roommates. And then, and then one weekend, I went home with Bakersfield.
You share an apartment?
We did. I had a bedroom. He had a bedroom, and I had a boyfriend. He had a girlfriend.
And
He
you
had lots
shared-
of girlfriends.
And you shared a bathroom?
I did. Well, see, I have 4 brothers, so I'm used to boys' bathrooms, not
Wow.
exactly being as hygienic as I would like them to be.
And you both see? Now, you see why I ask questions? Because she was just going to say he dropped to a knee. But now we found out that they lived together and were dating separate other people. Well, see, that you know what we call that in journalism?
Hiding the ball?
Burying the lead. Yes, exactly. Hiding the ball. That's an incredible story. We're not even inside the story yet. Oh yeah, everybody knew their husband who was dating other women and knew their girlfriends.
He dated all these other female law students. He was the editor of the Law Review and editor of the Law Review, and he was editor of the UCLA Law School newspaper, and he had his own office.
He was the editor of the Bruin?
Of the law school newspaper.
Oh, the law school newspaper.
And I think that's how he met all these women, because
Well, of course
he got
it was.
women. He asked good-looking women to write articles for the
That's what I did
newspaper.
when I was the managing editor at the paper at Cal State.
Did you really?
Oh.
Did you date the women that wrote the articles for you?
Well, I don't know
you
if I
were
call
a
it
dog.
dating. You know what I would do? I had the.
I don't know if I want to know this, Mr.
I took
Bailey.
away. Well, we're gonna find out anyway. I took away the responsibility. We had a section in the paper where it was at the bottom of the page, and it was 5 different students who we would take pictures of, and we would have a question of the week.
Oh.
Are registration fees too high? And we'd have 5 pictures and 5 comments, a paragraph comment from each student. And I took that away from the freshmen, and I did it personally.
And you picked the people that you
And suddenly 5 beautiful women were appearing in our newspaper every single week.
And your viewership increased dramatically. Your readership.
You doggone Skippy. Why? Who would rather see beautiful women at the bottom of the page or ugly co-eds?
Did you ever get any girlfriends out of it?
I don't know if I'd call them girlfriends.
Oh, what would you call them, Mr. Bailey?
So anyway,
You're not answering that question. That's burying the lead.
I think we all know, Teresa. I was a young man. I was in college.
Okay, all right.
I don't think we need to go further. But we need to go further in this story. So you were dating somebody. Barry's dating another.
Right. I was dating a lawyer in San Francisco who I had been introduced to by a lawyer in Bakersfield. He was his law school. He was a friend of mine. The lawyer in Bakersfield was a friend of mine. And the lawyer in San Francisco was his best friend from law school in San Francisco.
Okay.
He was my boyfriend. Came down to, I was clerking at the California Supreme Court that semester before, and the judge asked me if I would stay over for the summer. So I did, and it was really fun. but I needed a roommate. I
This
didn't
is
have
in
a roommate.
Sacramento?
This is in San Francisco. The Supreme Court sits in San Francisco.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they do. That's their
Thought it was
main.
in
That's their main
Sacramento.
court. But they do also sit in other places temporarily to hear cases. But that's the mothership. That's the mother court.
I did not know that. Live and learn.
In fact, he let me sit in his chambers for a whole month when I was a second-year law student. When he was traveling for a month, and I got to pretend that I was a California Supreme Court justice.
There's a joke there, but I'm not going to touch it.
Oh, I remember.
He let you sit in his.
He was
I'm
in
not
this.
going to touch
He had
it.
this huge desk, and I mean, it was
you're
really
killing me.
big. Did I ever tell you this story?
She's just teeing it up for me, but I'm not going to touch
No,
it.
and it was like,
I'm not
okay,
gonna touch it.
he's my boss. He's a Supreme Court justice. And it's like, I really wanted to see what was inside his desk drawer.
Okay. Oh, that's quite enough.
I did. You don't want to know what was in there?
You're either the most naive woman I've ever met.
No, you doing this on purpose.
Are you
had me do this on purpose.
No, I did. What? Is that bad? What is
Oh,
that?
you were cracking me
she's
up right
naive,
now,
Chris.
Terry.
Why?
She's totally naive.
Oh, you were cracking me
Do
up.
me a
No,
favor.
why does that crack you up,
Do me a
Chris?
favor.
What? You don't want to know
Do
what
me a
was in his
favor.
desk drawer?
Do me a favor.
Yes.
Tonight, go back and watch this portion of the show with Barry. Please. Right up until this point, Barry. Then you can go do whatever you want to do. From now on, Barry, you can go. I just wanted you to hear that whole. And he had the big thing, and I wanted to get in.
I wanted to open the
You
desk
don't even
drawer.
hear yourself. That's what's so funny.
So don't you want to know what was in there?
Oh, we all want to know, Terry.
Okay, ready? So I look around, I go and I shut the door to make sure that his legal secretary, who sits across the hall, who knows everything that goes on in his office,
course you
she's
did.
not there.
Of course you
So
did.
I open the desk drawer and I look inside, and there's a big, giant bag of stale marshmallows in his desk drawer. And I think they'd been there for like 2 years. He won't mind me saying this now because he's up in heaven now, and he's probably laughing at this. But anyway, that's what was in his desk drawer.
Boy.
I was disappointed.
I was going to say, sir, as we all are. As we all are.
Oh,
I thought there
anyway.
was a payoff to that story. and
So I needed a place to
stale
live.
marshmallows.
Barry needed a place to live. And so he said, hey, I got an extra room. You want to live here? And I said, sure. We were friends because he was also clerking up at the state Supreme Court at the same time for that second semester of law school.
Right.
It was fabulous. You got to work for a judge. You didn't have to take classes, and you didn't have to take final exams. And you got a full semester's worth of law school credit.
Okay.
What a deal that was.
We're not interested in your law firm or your law history.
Anyway,
So how did he break out of the friend zone?
Well, one weekend, I think it was the first, maybe 3-day weekend that we had. And I came home to Bakersfield, and he stayed there. And then he called me, and I kind of missed him, and he kind of missed me. And we decided that we missed each other. And after that, it wasn't platonic after that. Anyway.
Why do
that's
I
it.
find that icky, Chris? Am I just
Why?
weird?
Is that bad?
I
don't think it's bad.
It was very romantic. I didn't realize that how
I
much
can't
I missed him.
imagine dating somebody who saw my ex-girlfriends coming and going, and I saw her boyfriend.
Well, my boyfriend was up in San Francisco. He never met my boyfriend.
Okay.
But so immediately,
Okay.
as soon as I started,
that kind of okay.
as soon as I started getting feelings for Barry, I called up my boyfriend and I broke up with him. And it was very
See, you
hard.
keep leaving out key facts of the story. You made it sound like we just broke up and then Barry asked me to move in. No, you tried to move in with Barry, is what you were trying to do.
I just needed a roommate.
Oh,
Bad.
yeah.
I did.
Mhm.
I did.
Mhm.
The year
And you just happened to
before-
call Barry and be, God, Barry, I need a roommate. I can't find anybody to stay with. I'm just here by my lonesome, by myself. And
No.
probably even shed
I'm
a
gonna
tear or
say,
two. Probably shed a tear or two.
I'm going to say that.
Barry, what should I do?
I'm going to say that if anyone pursued anybody, he pursued me. That's what I think. You might disagree, but I think that's what happened.
Yeah, I think you would disagree. I take that back, Barry. You should watch this whole segment. You should hear this.
Anyway, that's how we got together.
Okay.
As being roommates. We were platonic though at first.
Well, I think
We really
that's
were.
how all great loves begin.
He was my best friend in law school.
I think that's how I think that's how great I wouldn't know. I've only had 2 really long relationships, and being long, 3 and 4 years is my record. But both of those began as friends.
Friends. I think that might be the secret to the long-term success.
I think so. You gotta like. There are girls that I have dated that I thought I loved, but I did not like. You know what I mean?
Okay, that makes me think love and lust are over here and like
Yes.
is over here.
Love and lust and comfortability and, you know, just you find yourself in a relationship and you don't want to go through the drama of breaking up. And this is why I'm alone at my age, because this is how stupid I am.
It's hard to break up.
It is. I was horrible at it. I would just cut people off. I don't think I ever really said, I don't want to see you anymore. I would just
Did you ghost them?
slowly
Before
but
ghosting was
surely.
a term?
Yes, slowly but surely. You know, why are you not calling me as often? I don't know. Just can we talk later? And just slowly,
That's painful. That's
Yeah.
painful for a female. I mean, I've had that happen to me, and I've also done that to people, and I know it's really hard. Do you feel guilty about it now?
No. No, not really. No.
If you saw those women again, would you say, "I'm really sorry I acted that way"?
No. I do wish I had like
no
six.
hope for you, Mr. Bailey.
No. I will say this. I had 6 girls that I was serious about. And I wished that I had been a better boyfriend. Because I let some really good women go. I really did. Now, a couple of things were out of my control. One of the girls that I dated for 3 years, her family stepped in and said that she had to go back to her husband until the kids graduated.
That's a tough one.
They did like an intervention, the grandparents and the parents.
Wow.
And she dumped me. It was right when I started working here. It was 13 years ago.
Wow, that must have really hurt. That
Oh,
would
you
be
have no
very
idea.
tough.
You have no idea.
And she wouldn't stand up to her family.
Nope. Wouldn't do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Now
Have
that.
you guys seen each other since then?
No, we talked for a little while. We stayed in contact for a little while and then we lost contact. But
That's too bad.
Yeah.
That's a shame. You think that's like the hardest one?
we've talked about this before. You know what the hardest one is, and I'm not going to bring up her name because her
that's right.
family's still here.
That's right.
But,
That's right. The one that I know.
Yes, Miss Adams
Yes.
was the most difficult
Beautiful,
because
gorgeous
I
woman.
screwed that up.
Mhm.
I absolutely screwed that up. I had a perfect woman, and I screwed it up.
Wow.
Refused to ask her to marry. I should have asked her to marry me when she flew back with me from burying my father, and I couldn't pull the trigger.
How old were you?
At the time, I was 36.
Oh, so you were mature.
I was of
You weren't
definite
like you were a
marriage
teenager.
age. I'd sowed enough oats. I should have married that woman. It's the
Wow.
biggest. That and Morehouse College are
Well,
my greatest
it is,
mistakes
Ralph,
in life.
I believe it is never too late for love. I really do. It's never too
Well,
late.
you have lost your mind. It is way too late for me.
No, it's not.
It is way
it's not,
too late. Terry.
Ralph. No,
Trust
it's
me.
not.
Trust me on this. I just turned 64.
So, big deal.
It's-
You're a spring chicken. You're a youngin'.
I like my life. I like where I'm at.
Okay,
I do.
I get that.
Yeah. So what are we doing for our 44th anniversary?
Wow. Oh, what did we do?
Oh, it's past?
It was on August 16th, but we had fun. We
The
went.
day that Elvis died.
Really? I
Yes.
didn't know that.
Yes.
Wow.
August 16th, the day
No.
for my dad's birthday.
Oh. Wow.
It rained in LA that day.
On Elvis's birthday?
I was 77. It rained in LA out
My
of nowhere.
gosh.
Isn't that crazy? In the middle of summer.
That is
I'll never forget
God crying for a great one past, huh?
it.
Sort of. If you're an Elvis fan.
Yeah.
We went to LA and we stayed at this wonderful hotel that we really like to stay on special occasions.
Which
And,
is?
the Hotel Bel Air.
Ooh, nice.
And
I
that,
love
to
the
me,
Hotel Bel Air.
to me, that's like what heaven looks like when you get
Oh,
to
that's a
heaven.
beautiful hotel. I've
pretty.
been to 2 bar mitzvahs. at that
Ooh,
hotel
I bet that was
when I was
nice.
13 years old. Jim Stein and Annie. I can't remember Annie's last name.
I think they have a lot of
Jim
events
Stein.
there.
Yeah, Jim Stein had his thing there.
It's fun.
I remember because I had to sit there for an hour and a half waiting for my parents to pick me up.
Oh my
Miserable.
goodness.
It was miserable. Because it
Miserable?
was such a beautiful hotel. I was 13 years old.
And you can't really do anything.
And yeah,
right?
they're like, kid, get out of the way.
The swimming pool is really
I'm
fun
waiting for
there.
my parents. You know, it's horrible.
Well, they have that. Last time I was there, my daughter and I, we went into the bar. Daughter came with us. We were there for a family event, and that was someplace else, but we were. And so we decided, let's go have a drink. This is me and my adult daughter. So we go into the corner bar, and we saw John Legend and Christy Teigen. That was
I'm
my
sure.
little celebrity sighting there
Yeah.
in the bar.
Isn't that the place where they have the swans?
I
They
don't
have
think-
swans
I
walking
don't-
around?
I didn't see swans walking around, but they have beautiful grounds. The swimming pool is great. It's just like a really classic old wonderful hotel. It's pink.
I
and
love
they have a
Bel
lot
Air.
of. It's very
Bel Air
nice.
is one of the most underrated areas of LA.
It's very
behind the gates of Bel Air.
It's hard to find them. We got lost almost every time we were looking for it, though, because all those roads
Up in the
curve around.
hills. Yeah.
But we went there on Thursday. We went to the Dodger game against the.
Oh, nice.
They lost in the 9th inning.
Well,
They
of course
lost.
they did.
It was the Milwaukee.
Edwin Diaz must have been pitching.
I don't remember the name of the pitcher, but I just remember being really disappointed because it was 4-2, and then all of a sudden it was 5-4.
Yeah, that was the night. You stayed the whole game then.
We stayed the whole game. All these people.
We lost it in the top of the ninth.
We did.
Edwin Diaz gave up 3 runs in the top of the ninth. By the way, Big Dog just texted me. They sent him to IL. They put him on the IL. Diaz.
Is that good?
No, it's bad. He's not on the team, basically, which is good.
Oh, that's what I mean. Is that
It's
good
bad
for
for
the
him.
team?
It's good for the team. It's bad for him.
I don't understand why they keep losing, but anyway,
Well,
I'm sure you have lots of theories about that.
Him is primarily one of the reasons.
And then let's see, what did we do on Saturday? We went to I can't remember what we do on Saturday. Saturday night we went to the comedy store.
Yeah.
Have you ever been there on Sunset Boulevard?
Oh, yeah.
That was so much fun.
Yeah.
I had a great time.
Any famous comics?
No, because we went to this thing called New Material. And at New Material, it's like it's only an hour and a half long, and it's where they show up with their new material.
Right.
I think it was new comedians with new material.
Yeah. Where'd you go to dinner?
We had dinner there. We just kind of ate
the
at the
hotel?
club. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that
Good
day,
choice.
we also went to Pasadena. We went to go see his office. They opened up an office in Pasadena, so we went to check out the office. That was really fun.
I
But
love Pasadena.
it's pretty. But
South Pasadena,
when
especially.
we were outside of the comedy club on the other side, we were parking, and I tripped and fell, and I hurt my ankle. See that lovely little thing on my ankle there?
Wow.
And so he had to push me around in a wheelchair around the hotel for a day and a half. Pretty exciting.
Can't have that third glass of Chablis. Just saying.
I didn't have anything to drink.
Yeah,
But it
that's the
hurt.
story.
But I'm okay now. And then what did we do? We went to the comedy club. Then the next day we just hung out at the hotel because I had to have my foot up. And then the next day we went to the Getty Museum. I'd never been to the Getty before.
You've never been to the Getty Museum?
No, and I've probably driven past it, I'm thinking at least a couple hundred times.
Wow.
And always said, I really want to go to the Getty Museum. It's fantastic.
It is.
It's beautiful.
That was one of our senior projects.
The Getty Museum?
Mm-hmm.
Going there?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. What part did you like the most, Mr. Bailey?
I vaguely remember it. I didn't appreciate it. I was a knucklehead kid who didn't really want to even go and then was like in awe.
Did you know it's free to go to the Getty Museum? It doesn't cost a thing except you have to pay $25 for parking.
I was going to say we had to pay as a group. We had to pay. It was our whole senior class.
Wow.
And I remember, in fact, I thought we raised the money. I thought.
Well, the guys that work there, we were talking to the waiter and the busboy and all that, and they were saying how great it is to work there because it's owned and operated by the Getty Trust. And during the pandemic and other times when people haven't been able to work there, they paid their full salaries, like for the full 2 years, no questions asked.
Yeah.
And then apparently they're going to close in March for another year. And the Getty Trust has said, we are going to continue to pay your salaries during the time that we're closed because they're making some changes to it, getting ready for the LA Olympics.
Ooh, that's right.
So that's what's going on down there.
Yeah.
So that was our weekend. It was really fun.
Well, that sounds like a great time.
Thank you.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you very
All right,
much.
what are we talking about?
Well, I thought
We got about 6 minutes.
Oh, geez. Okay. I thought we could talk about Luigi Mangione because I
Yes.
did hear you talk about Luigi Mangione and Double Jeopardy and how awful all of that is.
Right.
And then the Rafael Estrada case, I did hear you on the radio talking about. That's the guy who they had the hung jury.
Cut his wife's throat, and the
Right.
jury couldn't determine on first or second degree murder.
Right. And so it's going into the insanity phase now on the other charges. that
Now,
are
explain that
against
to
him.
me. How did they have a trial? How did they find him guilty for felony child and spousal abuse? And then after the fact, they're having a separate hearing on whether he's sane or not?
Well,
Why did that not come before all of these trials?
That's just the way it works. That's how it happens. You got to see what you get convicted of. And he's on this one. That's the way it works in California. It's done in two separate parts. And so the separate part, of course, is the insanity phase.
Well, what if they come back and they say he's insane?
If they say he's insane, then he immediately gets a commitment to a mental facility, and he won't be in prison. He'll be imprisoned inside of a mental hospital.
Would he still have to face the murder charge?
Well, the murder charges were because there was a hung jury. The Judge Daltrich, declared a mistrial on the 2 counts, the first and the second, and because it was a mistrial, the prosecution has the opportunity to
Right.
refile it.
Of course, Terry.
So-
we assume,
Right.
we know
If
they're going to refile.
if
It's
they
not like they're going to let him walk.
if they refile it,
If?
well, I hope they do refile it, but I don't know
Well,
if they're
come
going
on.
to. Hopefully they will.
There's no chance of them not refiling, Terry.
I never predict anything like that. You never really know.
You really think they would not refile murder charges on this guy and let him walk slitting his wife's throat in front of his child?
Why haven't they done it already?
That's a great question.
I would have walked down to the counter and
I
filed
would
it
have
right
too.
then and there.
I think there's chaos. I know you're never going to say this because you're a fan of Cynthia Zimmer, but I think there's absolute chaos going on in Truxton.
Hmm.
And
You
why,
have more,
why
you have
would
more
I say
intel
that?
than I do.
Exactly. I'm not saying that because
Okay.
I just made it up.
Okay.
I've got people texting me and calling me and telling me these things.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
the other charges that he was convicted of was, felony spousal abuse and multiple child abuse charges. And those are both felonies and misdemeanors. And so that's what he's in the insanity phase on, is that part of it. But I don't know if it restarts the clock and they have to redo it again on the murder charges if they refile and get a conviction. But that's what they're on right now. And so the jury is in California, typically, the jury is the one that decides on the insanity, unless the defendant waives a jury and then it goes to a judge. But in
Right.
this case, it's going to a jury. So
You're
that's
right.
what's going on there.
You're right. I want to apologize. You're right. Knowing what's going on downtown, they might just let him walk on the murder charge.
I hope not.
I hope not
That's
either.
pretty
But I also
awful.
hope that they wouldn't give Kevin Mays such a sweetheart deal.
Oh.
I also hope that they wouldn't have given the kid that killed the grandmother high on marijuana a sweetheart deal. But that's all Monty Hall has been doing these days. So I wouldn't be surprised if this guy walks on the murder charge.
Well, Luigi Mangione is a very interesting case. Of course, that's the person who was who shot the insurance executive.
Brian Thompson.
Yes, and he pled last week. Earlier this week. Guilty in federal court to 2 stalking charges. That's what they got him on in federal court. And he's also facing 2 second-degree murder charges in state court, in New York State Court. And the issue with that one is, even though that federal court plea was a non-negotiated plea, which means the government had nothing to do with it. The prosecutors didn't, but they're going to ask for a life sentence for him. They say they are, and that's going to be subject to the federal sentencing guidelines.
Well, then who cut the deal?
He just came in and said, I want to plead guilty. That's how it worked. And it was very smart of his lawyers to do that, I think, because he's facing 2 parallel proceedings, meaning he's got the state court criminal charges against him, and he had the federal court criminal charges against him. And under New York law, very interesting, under their statute, it's a broader, more protective statute protecting a defendant against double jeopardy than the federal Constitution is under the Fifth Amendment. In federal court land, you can be prosecuted, let's say, for robbery in federal court, and you can also be prosecuted for robbery in state court. And because they are 2 separate sovereigns, meaning they're almost treated like 2 separate nations, they're considered 2 separate offenses. And that's why it's not double jeopardy under federal law.
So why is this the exception? We're running out of time.
Because under New York's law, it's very different. And New York doesn't say, it's not this dual sovereignty thing. New York law says, if it arises from the same set of circumstances and is essentially the same crime and is essentially the same elements, then it's double jeopardy.
And he pleaded guilty because if it had been adjudicated by the state initially ahead of federal, he definitely faced life in prison.
Yes.
With the federal charges, he could get 20 to 30 years and be my age and be out on the streets.
Yes, he'll
Is that
probably,
accurate?
I looked at the sentencing guidelines in federal, and it looks like he's probably going to get somewhere like 24, 25 to 30 years.
But on the state side, he would have got life.
Yes. Yes.
And there's still a chance on the federal side he could get life.
Yes, because the prosecution's going to have to prove a couple of exceptions in order to say that double jeopardy under New York law doesn't apply. I think it's a little iffy if those exceptions actually apply here. So he's probably going to be protected by New York's statutory black letter law double jeopardy statute.
So what's going to happen? We're about a minute left.
I think he's going to end up going to federal prison for a very long time, and I think his case is going to end up being dismissed in state court because of the state double jeopardy.
Which is a travesty on a certain level because federal time is much easier than state time, correct?
Well, it depends on where they're sent. There's some pretty tough federal
But just
prisons.
generally speaking, federal prisons are easier than state prisons. I mean, he could end up where Diddy is, right? If he went statewide.
He could. I think generally that what you're saying probably is true, but there are some pretty awful federal prisons where I don't think anybody would want to spend 30 minutes in.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, but
that he's going to go down possibly not as a murderer.
Yeah, he'll go down as a stalker.
Yeah.
Those are the two charges that they got him on. That's just being a stalker.
That just seems wrong to me.
I agree. I think it's terrible, but his lawyers were pretty savvy to do that.
Yeah,
they weren't waiting on the prosecutors to cut a deal with him. They just went in and pled straight up to those counts.
Maybe the federal judge surprises us.
Well, the federal judge said, hey, I know you're saying this, but I'm going to go. I'm not bound by the guidelines. They're just guidelines.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do what I want to do.
Let's cross our fingers. That was outstanding. Happy anniversary. Barry, happy anniversary. You're a smart man. Quick timeout. We're headed into the fourth. Terersa Goldner, everybody. We're headed up the hill. It's a Tuesday. It's not a Wednesday. It's a Tuesday. So Howard Marcus joins us next, right here on the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. Yeah, it was great. That was really good. I still don't get it. That's no good.
Kern Radio, AM 1230, KERN, 96.1 FM, K241CI, Bakersfield, an American General Media station.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Republican redistricting shapes today's Florida primaries. Correspondent Bernie Bennett reports.
Responding to President Donald Trump's desire to have a better shot at defending the Republican majority in Congress, Governor Ron DeSantis eagerly pushed to redraw Florida's congressional districts. It yielded a round of political dominoes in South Florida. Broward County, the most left-leaning in the state, is down to one presumably Democratic district. It's plurality black. But Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who doesn't live in the district, is the favorite as the lone white candidate in District 20. Wasserman Schultz and Jared Moskowitz live in a redrawn District 22 that now reaches the more conservative Gulf Coast. Bernie Bennett reporting.
Wyoming's primary features open seat races after two prominent Republican officials announced their retirements. Alaska uses ranked choice voting, which supporters say encourages more moderate candidates. The latest Ukrainian drone barrage on Russia inflicts lots of damage.
Ukrainian forces have launched one of their biggest drone attacks on Russia since the war in Ukraine began, firing almost 800 drones. Moscow's mayor said of the more than 600 Ukrainian drones that flew towards the Moscow region, 180 were shot down. Officials reported no deaths or major damage. The overnight attack comes just 2 days after a similar assault. Meanwhile, a Russian missile strike on a village in Ukraine's Kharkiv region killed at least 10 people and wounded 8 others. I'm Karen Shanath.
President Trump says the U.S. has no planned talks with Iran, but insists that the Strait of Hormuz remains open. This comes after a reported strike on a ship exiting the waterway, and as Iran and Oman say they are close to a deal to reopen the waterway. More on these stories at townhall.com.
I'm not one to say I told you so, but I switched to Pure Talk over a year ago, and ever since, I've been telling people there's no better wireless company out there. Well, a few months ago, a massive survey was conducted. 123,000 people were asked to rate their wireless carrier in 4 categories: coverage, support, data, and overall value. Well, the results are in. Guess which wireless company was the only wireless company to get 5 stars in every category? Yeah, Pure Talk. 5 stars, every category. To celebrate, Pure Talk is offering the first 3 months of any plan for just $15 a month, including their top-tier unlimited plan. No contract, no commitment, just a very inexpensive way to test drive the only American wireless company with 5 stars in every category. Just dial pound 250, say micro, and Pure Talk's U.S. customer service will take it from there. Again, pound 250, micro. And yes, I told you so.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update.
A public meeting tomorrow night will give Bakersfield residents a chance to weigh in on the city's growing network of flock license plate cameras. I'm Bob Archer. Police say the cameras help find stolen cars, they track suspects, and they solve crimes faster. Critics say the system raises privacy concerns. They want stronger limits on how that information is collected and shared. The meeting starts at 5:30 tomorrow night at Salon Juarez Hall on East 18th Street. A Kern County homeless recovery leader has helped shape a new national guide for treating addiction among homeless people. Carlos Valdivinas, executive director of the mission at Kern County, joined about 24 professionals from around the country to work on the federal toolkit. He's pushed for longer-term recovery programs, transitional housing, mentoring, and job training. Hot Wheels Monster Trucks Live is coming to Dignity Health Arena this weekend. The Glow and Fire Tour runs Saturday and Sunday with trucks including Bigfoot, Bone Shaker, and Mega Rex, along with freestyle motocross riders. Kern County property owners are being reminded that unsecured property taxes are due by August 31st. Those are taxes on property that is not land or buildings, such as business equipment, boats, and aircraft. Payments after the deadline face a 10% penalty. A 21-year-old woman is facing a second-degree murder charge after a man was stabbed to death Monday afternoon at a home on White Lane. Police say the suspect and the victim knew each other. Temperatures begin climbing again with around 103 expected tomorrow and 106 Thursday before easing back a little Friday. And Amtrak's Gold Runner route through Kern County is getting nearly $43 million in federal money for safety and access improvements, including a new overpass in Shafter. I'm Bob Archer in the Kern Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
So less well in a month from now, this Hollywood big shot's gonna give you what you want.
Too late. They start shooting in a week.
I'm gonna make him an offer, Cameron.
The Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hour 2 of the broadcast on this Tuesday, 18th day of August. This is the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 AM 1230. We're streaming live at KERNradio.com. Coming up by the hour, we've got more information on the death of Hayden Panettiere. Her mother, her estranged mother, is speaking out and, not to anyone's surprise, putting much of the blame on her daughter's death on that knucklehead boyfriend of hers, Brian Nickerson. We've got a couple of bites from Hayden Panettiere where you can hear the pain in her voice. One of the interviews was done just 4 months ago, and you can hear her absolutely just in pain. I don't know how else to put it. And there's another bite where she talks about her birth into addiction and how opioids was her drug of choice, which is just destroying this generation. It really, really is. It's really, really sad. And then coming up at the 5, we'll talk about the Lakers sale. I'll try to explain what Jeannie Buss is trying to hold on to and what her legal rights are, if there are any. And we'll talk about the Dodgers. They put Edwin Diaz on the IL after a humiliating night where they were up 11-2, and they just tried to get him some work, try to get him some confidence. And he got rocked as if they had brought it. You know how they bring in an outfielder like Miggy or somebody to pitch in a rout? That's what it looked like in the 9th inning. I mean, he just couldn't get it. Even the outs that he was getting out were loud outs, bang, right at Andy Paez. But we'll talk about that. But it is a Tuesday. There.
75 or so, about 78 maybe.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a drastic difference.
Well, remember, I'm not on the valley floor. Isabel on the floor is like supposed to be like 92, but I'm 3,700 feet up and right on a creek.
Right.
It runs 24/7 with the breeze, so it helps a lot.
Yeah. Is there water in the creek?
Oh yeah, 24/7. We've been tracking it now. It's run all year round.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pool's there. We're high enough up. There's almost like a glacial. The rocks are so big. There's pools like 20 feet across. You actually swim in if you wanted to.
Why is there no water in the river?
It's just a different flow. Remember, that's based on release from the dam, because this is going the creek that I'm on. Shirley Creek was right into Lake Isabella.
Yeah.
So the feed in Isabella may be low. I mean, this creek is a creek. It's not a river, but it's enough that when it's raining, it's really pretty impressive. And when normally it's decent enough you don't want to go try and slide down or you get hurt. But it's just a difference in where the water's coming out and how they remember they regulate the flow out of Isabella.
Right. True.
And they've got some judicial rulings on how long they had to keep the Kern River flowing through Bakersfield. But I think they just terminated that last month.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. Yeah.
It'd be nice if it was year round, but I was just too hot.
Yeah.
And the way we use water in Bakersfield is astounding. I have a friend who runs all the water operations for Vaughn, and the amount of water that people waste is astounding.
Yeah, it is. My apartment complex is one of the biggest offenders.
Oh yeah.
The way we run our sprinklers in the middle of the day and just.
Yeah, it's dumb. And you really don't need lawns. I mean, honestly, we should be going to zero-scapes everywhere. We're in what's called a Mediterranean climate, basically the same as, say, Italy, lower Italy. And we're trying to grow it like we're in a tropical jungle, and it just isn't the way it should be.
Yeah.
We got the ornamental lawn thing from the 50s. Yeah, my dad had one. Everybody has one. You spend more time mowing and taking care of it, and you don't do anything with your front lawn.
That's how we first made money when we were kids, mowing the lawn.
I mowed lawns. Yeah, I mowed lawns. Yes,
mowing the lawn. And my first lawn mower did not have an engine.
Oh, you had a push mower.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Horrible.
Oh, it was just a disaster.
Yeah, it was a good workout though. Yeah, but you won't enjoy it.
Well, that's what was
the water usage. Kern County's water usage is insane.
That was what was unique about the non-motorized lawnmower. It made you want to mow the lawn more because the taller the grass got, the harder it was.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah. I
you
actually had one in my yard in Rosedale. I thought I'll try this for a workout. Oh my God, it was a workout.
Oh, it was a pain in the ass.
Yeah, you had to mow like 2-3 times a week. Otherwise, you'd have to get to like 3-4 inches deep, and it was a little struggle.
And then it was almost impossible. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, I hate those days.
Yeah, not fun.
What do you want to talk about, Howard?
Hey, you know what? I was thinking about this earlier. You could almost pick a subject. We are in a 24/7 endless news cycle since probably CNN was founded. And it's constant news of all sorts coming at you. And you can pick any subject at any time, leisure, sports, or whatever, and there's something breaking every day, all day long. And I think we've become news junkies or overexposed to it to the point where every story is the newest story. Every story is, they breathlessly announce it's the biggest story. And it's amazing how much no news are out there. It's hard to take it all in, really, in some ways.
I believe.
Pick one anytime. I follow all of it. So
I think the president is starting to lose it, Howard.
The only problem I have with Trump, and I've had this continuously, is I don't think that there's anybody in the White House that can control his outbursts, we'll put it politely. And I think part of that is that he is a New Yorker at heart, and that's kind of the psyche of those in New York. They're pretty brash and in your face. I don't think he's senile. I don't think he has dementia. He's always been this way, speaking his mind. But I think there's a problem when no one can tell him what to do, whether it's family or friends or whatever. And I think it's not that he's wrong. It's just that the media is shaping public perception and overblowing everything he says. Half the time he's trolling people when he says stuff, or he's saying it for reaction, and he gets it. He gets the reaction that he wants. It's kind of fun to watch if you know he's doing it for reaction. But I think the problem is when you have middle-of-the-road voters and those that are independents, I think that to a certain extent it's off-putting for them.
Well, no, the problem is when you're the leader of the free world and the president of the United States, everything that comes out of your pie hole is news, and everybody on the planet is paying attention, and you got to play it straight. And you can't say things like, we're going to make the Strait of Hormuz our property. You can't say things like, we're going to cut off our relations with South Korea and chum up and compliment Kim Jong-un. You can't say that we're going to bomb our allies and bomb Oman, who's been significant in being a liaison between the two. And I can't, what's the other crazy thing that I mentioned yesterday, Chris?
Yeah,
do you
I just
remember?
read the article on Oman about 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane, Howard. The what? Oh, the sailors. The sailors. where they set a record for being on an aircraft carrier. They're calling home and saying they're eating raw chicken. They've got horrible bathroom conditions. They've got kids that want to jump off the damn ship. And he's saying they haven't been out there long enough.
Well, if you compare that to, say, World War II, when you were in World War II, if you got drafted in, say, 41 or 42, it was called for the duration. That's a different subject, but you were in for the duration. You were in until 45. You didn't rotate out. You didn't points, where people thought about rotating on a points. That was a Vietnam thing. When we started to go do this idea, you only in country for so long. And the idea that if you can't do a deployment in wartime until you're not needed, that's part of the service that you have, because the other 99% of the time of your career, you're not in a combat zone.
So what, are you on the Hexit team, or just saying, screw these kids, suck it up, get over yourselves?
I think that's a different generational approach and expectations of wartime service.
Howard, they were on this ship for almost 220 consecutive days. No one has ever been on an aircraft carrier that long.
Well,
no one.
It's a floating city, though, but it's completely self-sufficient. But literally, Ralph, compare this to somebody who had a minimum tour of duty in Vietnam was 18 months, right? So you're looking at the same time frame, if not more. Or in World War II, you came in drafted in 42, you came out in 45, 3 years.
So Howard, are you really on the side? You're telling me that the president of the United States, the commander-in-chief, shouldn't be compassionate or empathetic when he hears wives and family members saying that these kids are complaining about the conditions and what's going on?
Well, again, I watched the interview with one kid who was complaining because he was getting corn dogs and hot dogs. And if you saw some of the people that were commenting that actually served Afghanistan and Iraq and everything, they're saying, look, I was on MREs for 6 months, didn't have a shower for 6 months. I was in a combat zone, in actual combat, not on a ship out in the ocean where I wasn't facing bullets and people trying to kill me. So it's a different perspective. Well, listen to me, I think that's a different perspective in what we expect from our military than what we were willing to expect 30, 40, 50 years ago. Ask a Vietnam vet what they went through. And ask them
you can't compare eras, Howard.
Well,
you should know that. We are going through, what are we going through now in the United States? A mental health pandemic.
Well,
now, I don't know who.
We allow kids to have cell phones everywhere, call mommy when there's a problem, helicopter parents.
Well, we can examine why it exists, Howard, but it exists. And when we've got kids.
There's certain expectations. And one of them is that you don't get to, you do your duty. If you want it, if you don't like it, you can, when your tour duty's up.
Wow.
These people aren't lifers. Just listen, they're not lifers.
I'm shocked.
It's usually a 2-year enlistment. If they don't like it, then they don't re-up. And we have people who've made 20-year careers. I have friends most of my friends in my age group are all vets.
I have a lot of veteran friends, and that's why I am totally blown away. I didn't think this was going to be a contentious issue today because of the 5 veterans. Let me finish, Howard. Let me speak, please. Of the 5 veterans that I spoke to, they were all empathetic to these kids and all empathetic and couldn't understand how the commander-in-chief could say something like, they haven't been out there long enough.
My friends were the opposite, but they were actually, one of them was a forward artillery observer. I've known him for 30 years. He's deaf as a result. Actually had to personally execute some Viet Cong. It was a long story. And the other one was what's called a PBR, which is, if you know anything about the Riverine Patrol, was an extremely dangerous job. And in other words, real combat, not logistics, not rear area, serve with distinction, and they have a completely different view. So it depends on what they were as a vet, and it's just a matter of perspective. And no, I do expect the military to be harder, and people have different and higher expectations of our troops because that's what they're getting paid for. That's the career, that's the sacrifice they choose to make. Wow. They don't get video games, they don't get Twinkies, and I'm not being unsympathetic, but I'm just saying that obviously as a result, they're going to rotate the ship out of there because of the complaints, because it is a PR issue. Whether it's real or not, it's a PR issue. And so the problem is you have people that are jumping on every excuse to naysay what's going on with Iran, and this is just another on the list. And my personal feeling is that if you sign up for it, be thankful you're not a grunt in Afghanistan, in a mountaintop being shot at, or in Iraq, or somewhere really horrible in actual shooting combat, that you're on a ship and you're bitching about the food, because that's what the complaints are.
No, come on, Howard.
Complaining about.
What have you read? They've talked about bad bathroom conditions, sleeping conditions. They're much more, and eating raw chicken is kind of a big deal because you know what, Howard? It'll kill you. Salmonella will kill you.
They're not digging latrines outside. They're not in porta potties. They're any They're on toilets on a ship, which is an aircraft carrier is humongous. For example, even the combat ships, the one we're talking about, is a huge ship. And the deployments on that ship are normally, if you look at people that are in the Navy, and I have friends that are, my wife has friends that are children are currently in the Navy, and normal deployment is an extended period of time. They're at sea. And it's a different issue. The Navy has a different expectation of what your service is than, say, the military in a combat zone. I'm not being unsympathetic. I'm just saying that complaints that I saw on TV, on the interviews, the guy complained about getting corn dogs and hot dogs, Ralph. That was his complaint.
Okay. All right.
I mean, I'm sorry, we can agree to disagree, but my feeling is
because I just
look, this is
my heart goes out to our military men, and when they complain about something, I think they should be heard. When their families, did you read the reports of guys wanting to jump off the ship?
One sailor
that escaped you.
One sailor. No, I read it, but he didn't do it, by the way. And look, we have 2 million men in the military. All it takes, mental illness is every aspect of our society. All
Exactly. That's why you can't compare eras. That's why you can't compare eras.
No, they had mental illness back then. Look at the what they used to call shell shock. We now call PTSD. That's been from every war ever.
I understand that, Howard. You really think that mental health is not as worse as it's been ever right now?
No, I don't. I think it's better now because we're treating it and recognizing it. Imagine somebody. Look, it's a different concept.
You think mental health in the year 2026 is better than it's been in the past? Really?
Yeah. Oh, yes, of course.
Wow.
I'll tell you why.
You are shocking the hell out of me today.
Well, do we have generals go around slapping soldiers for shell shock like Patton?
No, but we got children shooting up schools. We've never had that before. We've got Karens acting crazy on airplanes.
Because we allow it as a culture. Because as you said, when you said the breakdown of the family under Johnson, that's a societal decline in standards and culture. That's an overall picture. That's not mental health. That's poor behavior, bad morals and manners. That's a completely different issue. People acting out on a plane isn't because they're mentally ill. It's because we've allowed the behavior.
No, these people are mentally ill.
Open joke about Spirit Airlines, for example, right? That's why some of these cruise ships have turned into these free-for-alls because they allow it.
No, there's a difference between fights. There's a difference between fights and people going crazy on a plane and kicking and screaming all the way to the police station. You're mixing apples and oranges.
My wife watches like live PD and all that. We've always had some of these issues. The problem is we allow the problem to get to that level. You know, look, we had an issue here recently. Could you imagine what your father would do? I know what my father would do is if he found me with a group of 20 kids driving down 19th and tried to run into you with a bike, I wouldn't even occur to me to do that because I know what my dad would do. Well, those kids that are doing it, the dad may not even be in the household. They may not have ever been disciplined. You had a guy try to run you around a bike. He wasn't mentally ill. He was acting out. There's a difference.
Oh, absolutely. And I almost knocked him into next week.
Right. Well, there's a societal, you know this, there's a societal decline. There's an increase in single families, regardless of color, by the way. There's an increase in the societal decline. We emulate thug culture at all races and kinds, that we allow manners to go by the wayside. And that has to do with mental health. That's a separate issue. And it is an issue.
Then what about homelessness?
Well, you realize that they had a study in Bakersfield of all the problems we're having here are a total of 100 individuals. That's what the police of BPD has estimated. And the problem is we don't have institutions for them. The answer for that is the first time you pick them up, 30 days in jail. Santa Ana, I just read a report. I think it was either Anaheim or Santa Ana. Their mayor just did a new program. They scooped the person up. They said, we're going to throw you in jail. You're going to a treatment program, one or the other. And a third of them went into treatment and got them off the streets. The ones that didn't, went to jail. And, so there's a difference in societal attitude. We don't do that here. You can fix homelessness. You don't need to spend $10 million or some god-awful amount for what? Like what New York did with no decrease in homelessness, or what the state has squandered. We're letting a minuscule part of the population degrade our entire culture and way of life because we let them do it. If you and I tried to take a bathroom break in the middle of the street 30 years ago, we'd be in jail. There'd be no AFMs or butts. We wouldn't have somebody make an excuse for our behavior. Right?
True.
Well, that's a change in society overall, and it's not for the better. Today's society, we have medical advances, we have scientific advances, all at the expense of culture. We have a more coarse culture now than we've ever had, and we're paying the price for allowing it to get to this level. That's a completely different subject, though.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because you and I have to live with the consequences. We live in an urban area. We live in a state of California that allows it to happen. that people, even our local leaders, seem unwilling to really take the harsh measures needed. And as a result, you and I and every businessman downtown pays the price.
True that. True that.
You know, that's sad. It really is. You know, the military is a different issue. If you think about it, you think about the PTSD that they had back then. It wasn't even acknowledged as PTSD. They made it shell shock was a derogatory term. They considered you, rather than acknowledging you needed treatment, they treated you like you were worse than that. And now at least we're acknowledging it. We have treatment for vets. I have friends that are going through therapy. My friend I told you about goes to counseling because he still has flashbacks to Vietnam because of the horrible things that he saw and had to do. He told me one of the stories. It was horrible. By the way, thank you. He went on the last life flight. I finally talked to him in a few years.
Yeah.
And he had a good experience. He didn't want to go. He didn't want to relive the memories. That's why. He didn't want to bring it back. But the reality of it is that we now, you know this, Ralph, we now acknowledge that there is PTSD. That term wasn't even around 20 years ago.
Right.
And so whether the problem is better or worse, the difference is now we are acknowledging it and trying to treat it, where they didn't do it before. We either institutionalized these poor guys, or they just tucked it down like my dad did. He never spoke of the trauma he went through, ever. My entire life, it was a forbidden subject.
Yeah.
He just bottled it up to his, probably to his ill fortune.
Yeah.
Very sad.
I don't even know how to.
In some ways.
Yeah, I don't even know how to argue with it. I never. You caught me off guard. I thought you were going to be on the total opposite side on both those issues, but
well, sometimes we disagree, but it's okay.
All right. Say hi to Mary for us. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next Tuesday.
All right, guys.
Howard Marcus, everybody. Quick time out. Not a lot of time before we get to the bottom of the hour. We'll check the board, see what you all are talking about. There are a couple of statements in the chat room. I'll check that as well. In the meantime, you're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on Newstalk 96.1 at AM 1230. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. First Look with Scott Cox, mornings 6 to 9 a.m.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here from the First Look program. I'm taking myself a well-deserved vacation, so enjoy these stylings of whatever idiot they conned into thinking filling in for me would count toward their community service requirements. I'll be back on Monday, bright and early, 6 to 9, right here at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
You like playing around in the kitchen? Well, you've got to check out on Instagram Luigi's Restaurant and Old World Delicatessen vignettes. Tiny little vignettes, many of them with Gino showing you how to cook different dishes with some of the elements that are in the delicatessen. And now he's got some of the other personnel doing it as well. They're incredibly well done, and they can break down some of the great stuff that they do right at Luigi's. And again, if you're a foodie, the delicatessen's got to be your first stop. I mean, they've got everything. I've got some of the Luigi stuff in my kitchen. I use it when I cook as well. And again, I've told you about the deli, the merchandise, the merch for kids coming up for birthdays or anniversaries or whatever. And then check out the patio. The misters are out there. It's a wonderful afternoon. Where would you rather be? But again, stop in the deli. Say hello to Lynette. Try one of her Italian wines. Where would you rather be than at Luigi's Restaurant and Old World Delicatessen, longtime sponsors of the Ralph Bailey Show.
Look, folks, when it comes to IT support, not all companies are the same. Many make big promises, but very few have the depth of talent, advanced systems, and proven solutions that Grapevine MSP brings to the table. At Grapevine MSP, they don't just fix problems, they prevent them. Their fully managed IT services keep your systems running smoothly and securely 24/7. So when something happens at 2 o'clock in the morning, you're not going to be stuck trying to reach your provider. Grapevine MSP's local team is already on it with advanced network monitoring. They generally catch the issue before you even notice, and they're calling you to say that it's already been handled. Their dedicated cybersecurity team protects you daily from evolving threats, while their industry-leading backup and disaster recovery keep your business online even in a crisis. All this for one simple, transparent monthly rate. Call 661-377-2992 or visit grapevinemsp.com to schedule your free network evaluation today. Grapevine MSP Technology Services, the Valley's leading IT service provider.
Meet Paul Sheldon's client, Dr. Roland Rodriguez. Hello, this is Bakersfield General Surgeon Dr. Roland Rodriguez, client and friend of Mr. Paul Sheldon. It is my great pleasure and privilege to relate to all of you my absolute exemplary experience with Team Paul Sheldon. I have also referred a number of my colleagues to Paul Sheldon's office, only to receive the most stellar feedback from my doctor friends regarding the office's expert navigation through the complex maze that is Medicare. And even though Paul Sheldon himself is now facing some temporary health challenges, his long-standing and most experienced and expertly trained team of ladies, Christine, Kelly, and Lynn, continue to masterfully guide the clients through the complicated world of Medicare. You most definitely could not possibly do any better than to reach out to Paul Sheldon several months before turning 65. Thank you.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298. Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
I'm on my funk uncut. Yeah, make my funk a piece. I want to get bumped up.
You know how nasty Luther Campbell was? He's running for Congress down in Florida in the primary today. JD texted me a title, and I can't even say the title.
Yep. Because it does me. That's the song. It was the first song I think of when I think of.
That's exactly. That's the song that made Luther Campbell
want some cookies.
I can't even say the title. That's how nasty
Thank you, D-Boy, for the edited version, but unfortunately, I can't find that on YouTube.
Oh, we can't find the edited version?
There's no edited version on YouTube.
Because how can you edit that?
Yeah, there's no way to.
I can't even say the title, let alone lyrics. I mean, I guess we could, but
no, we can't.
It would be so out of taste. We're headed to the back half of the hour. Hayden Panettiere continues to make the news. You will hear from the young lady when we come back.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Florida's primary will choose candidates to complete the remainder of Secretary of State Marco Rubio's term in the U.S. Senate. There's also an open contest to replace term-limited Governor Ron DeSantis, featuring Representative Byron Donalds on the Republican side and former Representative David Jolly as the Democrat. Alaska voters will narrow down a wide field of candidates for a competitive U.S. Senate seat that's expected to play a pivotal role in determining which political party will hold a majority in the Senate next year. Among the 16 candidates running in the all-party primary, the most notable are Republican U.S. Senator Dan Sullivan and Democratic former U.S. Congresswoman Mary Peltola. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 116 points. More details at srnnews.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN. Headlines from the KERN newsroom.
I'm Rob Archer. A 21-year-old woman is facing a murder charge after a man was stabbed to death in South Bakersfield. Police say the man was found badly wounded yesterday at a home on White Lane and died at the scene. Officers arrested Ariana Russell on second-degree murder charges. Police say she knew the victim and they are not looking for anyone else. The Kern County Coroner's Office has released new findings in another Bakersfield death. Peter Espinosa died after an assault on East White Lane last October. The coroner says he died from physical stress during the fight, combined with methamphetamine toxicity. His death has been ruled a homicide. And the sanity phase continues in the trial of Rafael Estrada, accused of cutting his estranged wife's throat. His lawyers say he was legally insane at the time. I'm Rob Archer in the Kern newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Onyx, I keep having stomach issues. Please make me a doctor's appointment.
Okay, are you suffering from diarrhea, bloating, gas, or oily stools? If so, you may want to ask your doctor if it could actually be a problem with your pancreas, called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI.
My pancreas? How is EPI treated?
A prescription medicine like Creon, pancrelipase, is used to treat people who can't digest food normally because their pancreas doesn't make enough enzymes. Creon is the #1 prescribed treatment for EPI.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you are allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules, as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon. You can learn more at 1-800-633-9110.
Before your appointment, visit creoninfo.com. That's CREON info.com.
Meet Paul Sheldon's client, Dr. Roland Rodriguez.
Hello, this is Bakersfield General Surgeon Dr. Roland Rodriguez, client and friend of Mr. Paul Sheldon. It is my great pleasure and privilege to relate to all of you my absolute exemplary experience with Team Paul Sheldon. I have also referred a number of my colleagues to Paul Sheldon's office, only to receive the most stellar feedback from my doctor friends regarding the office's expert navigation through the complex maze that is Medicare. And even though Paul Sheldon himself is now facing some temporary health challenges, his long-standing and most experienced and expertly trained team of ladies, Christine, Ellie, and Lynn, continue to masterfully guide the clients through the complicated world of Medicare. You most definitely could not possibly do any better than to reach out to Paul Sheldon several months before turning 65. Thank you.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them blue.
Louis Armstrong, 842-5376-842-KERN. I got to be honest, I was taken aback. I didn't expect that. Normally, when I take a position, I can know whether Howard's with me or not, particularly when it comes to the president, and I'm kind of ready. I'm like, oh, I got to go to war with Howard today. And it's fun, but I'm normally just ready for it. I was shocked only because I talked to a couple of veterans who felt empathy for these kids, because the way Howard put it, they're complaining about corn dogs and hot dogs, when in fact, here is a New York Times report, quote, moldy showers, broken toilets, laundry down for weeks, long stretches with no hot water, a meal that came down to a half a cup of rice and 2 tortillas, no soap, deodorant, or toothpaste. He stated when the families raised the issue in April, Pete Hegseth dismissed reports as fake news. On August 11th, Iranian media reported that 7 Navy personnel died during a brawl on the ship, which CENTCOM denied. By August 12th, several media outlets, including Stars and Stripes, reported that multiple sailors had made attempts to jump overboard. Howard told us 1. The carrier due to poor conditions and mental stress. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said these reports, quote, completely misrepresented conditions aboard the ship, but did not directly respond to reports of deteriorating mental health and supply shortages. When asked whether he thought the Lincoln's deployment had gone on too long, President Donald Trump said, no, not long, not nearly long enough. The U.S. Navy denied there had been any increase of suicide attempts aboard the ship, while confirming 1 sailor went overboard in early August, was recovered, and received medical attention. On August 12th, Senator Ruben Gallego, a Democrat, wrote on his X account that the military had been requested to allow a congressional delegation to board the vessel and, quote, conduct oversight investigations into this terrible situation. He added that there was, quote, no reason for denial of access. Senator Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut, a Democrat member of the Senate Armed Services Committee, sent a letter to Defense Secretary Hegseth and Acting Naval Secretary Cow outlining a series of reported deficiencies aboard the Lincoln. The letter indicated that the aircraft carrier had been the subject of complaints, including shortages of basic supplies, contaminated water, plumbing failures, declining mental health conditions, deck safety concerns, and a disrupted mail system that had resulted in many care packages being lost in transit for months. The letter raised many questions, including whether the Navy had the ability to maintain a carrier presence that could meet the administration's demand. And then they talk about the USS George Washington being sent out there. But I just thought, I don't know, that we would all be sympathetic. I just always thought it was always about the men. That's what I always heard from officers. It's always about the men. The men's interest comes first. And, normally these guys go on 6-month deployment. These guys are almost out there for almost a year. In fact, let me just tell you how long they've been out there. 2022, hang on a second. On August 2nd, the Abraham Lincoln Carried Strike Group was ordered to Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. No, that's Lloyd Austin. That's Biden. I don't think it was much. I can't find it where it details how long they were out there. By early August, the Lincoln had been to sea for over 260 days, including over 40 days of continuous combat operations, stopping in port only twice, once in Guam in December and in Oman in July. So they were out at sea for 7 straight months without seeing land. And on August 6th, Navy leadership, including Acting Naval Secretary Hung Cao, attended the town hall. They mentioned that. I just thought it always came down to the men. That's all. I was just a little taken aback by Howard's take. Because to be honest with you, initially, until I read some of the complaints, I felt the same way. I really did. Initially, I was like, look, there are Marines on that ship. There are naval sailors on that ship. If you didn't want to do this, go sell shoes. What, do you think it was going to be easy? But I think there's a point where we have to have some kind of empathy for men. And just because, they sucked it up in the past doesn't mean we have to have the same thing in the present or the future. Maybe we've learned from Vietnam. We've learned from World War II. We've learned from all the men that suffered from PTSD. If we didn't learn anything from Vietnam, that's what we should have learned, that we put these men to the point of self-destruction. I don't know. I mean, there's a life beyond the military. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. But, I mean, if I didn't have toothpaste or deodorant or running water, bathroom facilities, I'm eating raw chicken, I'm having dinner, rice, and tortillas. And it's not as if the sailors were out there complaining. They were just they were contacting their families. It was the families that went to their congressmen, and that's exactly how our situation is created. That's how it's supposed to work. I don't know. I'm still surprised. That's all. 842-5376, 842-KER. And what do you got on the board? Let's read a couple of text messages.
Ralph, you're correct. Something's going on at the DA's office. Her current chief of investigations is leaving, and that makes 4 since she became the DA.
Yeah, our former police chief certainly didn't last long. Now, that might have been purposeful. I haven't spoken to Lyle Martin in a long, long time, but and he gets the double dip, the sergeant. Really nice guy. He was the police spokesman, the BPD spokesman for a while. That's a double dip, though, isn't it? Doesn't he now get 2 pensions? He gets his BPD pension, where he's going to get probably, I don't know, he's probably making $1.50, maybe 2 bills. He'll get that for the rest of his life, and now he's over with the county now, and whatever he's making there, I'm sure he's making about $1.50, 2, maybe 2 1/4, and he's going to get that for the rest of his life. Good googly muggly. Had they told us when we were kids, there are a couple of secrets they kept from us. That cops and firemen can quit at 50. Like if you started when you were a kid at 22, 23, you put in your 30 years and you could quit at 50, 52, and they pay you for the rest of your life. If they had told me, I might have wiped off that yellow streak down my back and become a cop. Nah. I'd rather be eating top ramen with no teeth at 78 than chase bad guys down a black alley. Are you kidding me? I'm the biggest coward in the history of the world. I'm not running the gunfire. I'm the brother who's leading the charge the other way. You going crazy? I ever tell you about the time we got robbed at Vaughn's? Did we tell that story?
I don't know if you have.
Chet and I, it's when I was living in Inglewood, and the Vons was right across the street from us on Sentinel Avenue. It was walking distance, and we'd walk to the store, and we're in line, and a little Mexican kid walks up and puts a gun to the head of the teller, or the what do you call her? The checkout lady. And Chet and I run, and I mean run, to the back of the store. We get into like the whatever's behind the meat department, you know, where they keep all the vegetables and stuff. Have you ever been in the back of a supermarket, by the way?
Yes.
That's the only time I had ever been. I bagged groceries for like a summer, but I'd never been in the back of a grocery store. Anyway, and we went up and we hid in this office for like 10, 15 minutes. Then we realized, maybe not that long. And so we figured we'd leave out the back side of the grocery store. Well, I don't know what took this guy so long, but that's right where the guy parked. And as we were coming out, he shot at us. He shot at the grocery store. I could be dead right now. And then we went back in and hid in that office that we left like idiots for like 30 minutes until the cops were finally like, "Anybody in here?" And we're like, "Yeah, you the cops?" And we finally came out. True story. Never been so scared in my damn life. Because we came out the door like it's over. All of a sudden we hear this bing, this shot, and then a ping, like just above us. He fired at us with like a little 22. But
Still could have done some damage though.
damn, Skippy! Are you kidding me? You could have bled to death right there on Sentinel Avenue. Get shot in the chest with a 22. And they show up. They take you to what? Take you to Daniel Freeman or Sentinel Hospital? You kidding me? What else you got?
Soldiers and servicemen in World War II were tough. Today's military are soft. That's why Hexith is trying to toughen them up. Need masculine mentality. Do not need woke ideology in military. Period.
Well, who says there's woke ideology in the military? Pete Hexith? That's who you're going by? You think our military is soft? Really? See, that's why I thought Howard would take the opposite view, because I didn't think Howard or anybody else who listens to this radio would run down our military and bag on our guys and say that they're soft and they're not as good as their predecessors and they're just complainers and bitches and moaners. I thought that was going to be my position, and that Howard was going to fight back and say, "Look, these kids put their lives on the line, Ralph. What are you talking about? You ever been on a ship for 220 days? I thought he was going to take that route, to be honest with you. And I was going to play devil's advocate and say, why don't they suck it up, Howard? Because I thought for sure he was going to take the men's side of this. And I thought you all would as well. But if you all think that these guys currently in our military, who I admire, I tip my hat to these fellas and women, Now, to compare them to the greatest generation is just stupid, because the circumstances a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? I think this, and I used to argue that. When Tom Brokaw first wrote that book, I disagreed with it. I really did. I said I think that's a bad presumption, because it means that our best is behind us, that our future is screwed. If our best are now all almost dead, then what does that say for us currently or in the future? Then I got to meet and hang out with that generation through Honor Flight, and I ate my words. They were the baddest generation. Now, we'll never know, are we ever going to be tested in our lifetimes, even our grandchildren, on the fate of democracy and the fate of freedom throughout the world? That would tend to motivate you just a little bit, just a skosh. You know what I'm saying? So to make the comparison between either Korea or Vietnam or Desert Storm or Persian Gulf or anything to the fate of the globe and fighting Nazism and communism, it's a little different, just a little different. 842-5376, 842-KER, and who you got?
Jordan's first.
Jordan, what's really going on?
Going on, dude?
What's happening, man? We had Elizabeth Graff in just the other day.
Yeah, we had a good turnout the other night.
Yeah, the Zufari? I'm glad.
Yeah, a little over 600, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's probably a record, isn't it?
close. You know, the weather always depends. You know, makes
Yeah.
a deciding factor. So
Yeah, true that. What's going
I
on?
thought I'd call in for the annual call. We're 2 weeks out, so want to see if you want to do that yearly gentleman's bet.
Oof.
Mm-hmm.
Our schedule
Chargers and you guys this year.
Our schedule is a bear. Our schedule is a bear. I'll take you. You know what I will do? I'll take you against the Chargers straight up.
Yeah.
And if we split
for the season,
for the season, our 2 games, we play twice.
Yeah.
And if we split, we take the point differential.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I like our chances there. I like our chances because I think you guys are overrated. Overrated. I think that big love puppy that you got as a quarterback that's cuckooing with his girlfriend on the field. Do you see that? You see that?
He's a happy man.
Hey, Brady was dating Giselle Bundchen. You never saw her on the damn field cuddling his face. Did you see that, Bernie?
I did.
I mean, I've never seen anything. God, I wish they had been on Hard Knocks. God, I wish they had been on Hard Knocks. She's all playing with him. He's stretching. She's all playing. I'm like, oh, he's going to go 7.
But see, the man's about to get married.
Nah,
And you know
you
that's
could've-
when these quarterbacks start going off.
Oh, yeah, he's going to turn into a power horse.
You're happy. You're getting fed. You got a home.
You thought Jordan was going to be an MVP last year because he went and got a ring on the finger.
Yeah, maybe this kid will finally live up to his expectations. Because
he's got to have a line, you know what I mean? Back him up.
Yeah.
Get him going, man.
Are you happy with his play so far?
Oh, yeah. He's going to be a monster. I guarantee you. Yeah.
He has all the potential, but he always
Daniels is going to exploit him, so.
It seems like he spits the bit. I mean, I thought he had a horrible season last year.
Well, he did, yeah. We had 8 different linemen rotate in.
Yeah.
Which is unheard of.
Yeah, true.
And he was hurt too.
And we will.
Yeah,
We'll find
good
out.
played.
We'll find out how smart this Miami guy is. You're right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He's never had a quarterback like that, so that's all I have to say.
All right. All right, Pop. You got it.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for the
Both
call. Late. Who else you got? We'll sneak one more in real quick.
Cindy,
what's really going on?
Oh, hey, Ralph. Nothing's going on. What's going on with you?
Just another day in paradise.
Oh, okay. Okay, I was going to say that I agree with you 100%.
Don't do this again, Sid. What is going on? Stop trying. You know what it is? You're trying to smash. Stop trying to smash, Cindy.
No.
This is the second time in 22 years you've agreed with me, and the last 2 have been fairly consistent and recent.
No,
Stop trying to smash.
Okay, listen, that's because that's because sometimes, like they say, great minds think alike.
All right, what do we agree on?
Okay, I agree that the military should not be living and working under deplorable conditions.
I
you
agree.
got moldy food and not enough food and broken bathrooms and
No
men
toothpaste,
jumping off-
no running water, deodorant.
Yeah, men jumping off the ship. You know, something must be going on.
Yeah.
Why would a guy jump off the ship?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
I
In
agree.
the middle of nowhere, you know. So yeah, I think Howard's a little off on this. So because I was surprised that he said it too. I thought, wow, that was, because I was like, God, Ralph is thinking like me. This is disgusting and needs to be improved. Someone has to tell Ralph that he's right.
Yeah.
You know what? This just goes to show you cannot depend on your fellow Republicans all the time.
Oh, I knew. You had to ruin it somehow, didn't you?
I had to ruin it.
You had to. Some way, somehow, you had to punch me in the kidneys before you got off the phone.
But listen, the truth be told, that goes for Democrats too. Okay, I'm going to be truthful about that.
Yeah, you guys are in disarray. What do you think? You're a democratic socialist.
We're not in disarray. We are regrouping for battle. That's what we're doing.
Well, what are you going to do?
Preparing ourselves.
What are you going to do with these people that want to get rid of the Senate, the presidency, and police and prisons?
Oh, those people. You know what? This is the issue here. We have people in our party. I'll tell you what we're going to do with them. We let them talk for a few minutes, and in our party, we let the crazies talk for a few minutes, and then we put them in the corner.
Well, that's not what you're doing. You're nominating them, and they're going to the general, and the Republicans are going to kick their behind.
that's all media propaganda.
Yeah, we'll see. I gotta fly. Thanks for the call. Cindy? Is she still there? Oh, I want to say bye, boo. God dang it. Bye, boo. She's trying to smash. That's what's happening.
You're going to end up with Cindy. Golly. Who would have known?
Who would have thought it? Who would have thunk it? Quick timeout. We're coming right back. Headed to the 5. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on a Tuesday, right here on News Talk 96.1 at AM 1230. And we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.
Casey.
ERN, Maxwell in the morning. Good till the last mic drop.
Cam Newton, he claims that there were players, coaches, and execs that told people that they got the COVID shot, but they really didn't. And he was defending Aaron Rodgers over his recent statements on ESPN. What Cam Newton is saying is that he has a right to be upset just because he didn't get this COVID shot, because there are those people who didn't get the shot either.
Weekdays 9 to noon, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
You know, there's an aspect of Casey's Steakhouse that I don't talk about quite enough, and it's really one of my favorite aspects what the guys in the back are doing, and that's the daily soups. Yeah, I know most of you order a salad because it's more healthy for you, but try the soups. The vegetable beef is incredible. The chicken noodle is unique. It's not like a typical chicken noodle. It's a little less salty and really, really tasteful. Big old chunks of chicken. My favorite is the chicken pot pie. It actually tastes like a chicken pot pie, or the corn tortilla. And of course, on Fridays, the clam chowder. Where would you rather be? You can get it in a bread bowl on Fridays. But just try that instead of a salad next time. And of course, try out the Stockyard next door, Thursday, Fridays, and Saturday nights. They've got live music on Saturday. And of course, Bobby and Jimmy are providing live music in the main restaurant Wednesday through Saturday. Where would you rather be than on F Street at KC Steakhouse, longtime sponsors of the Ralph Bailey Show?
Look, folks, you already know that your garage door is a very important part of your home, from the overall look of the place to the safety and security it provides. So obviously, you should only trust the service, repair, and maintenance of your garage door to the pros at King Door Company. Their skill and product knowledge are unmatched in the industry, and that's no accident. The techs at King Door are rigorously trained at the King Door Academy. That's right. King Door has an in-house training facility to make sure your job is done right on the first try. They're trained in all the latest equipment, tools, and techniques. They even learn how to listen to customer concerns through role-playing exercises. And you'll see how well all this training works when they show up right on time in fully stocked service trucks with all the parts and equipment to service or repair any garage door. Like I said, your garage door is a very important part of your home, so leave it to the pros at King Door Company. Schedule your appointment today at kingdoor.com. King Door Company, the company with the pride of a lion.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have a health reminder from the CDC.
Pneumococcal vaccination is recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose, and millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist. I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
Hey, folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM.
And hopefully grab the mic as well that is attached to the microphone and slide over to the chat room, see what you all are talking about. Good afternoon, Ralph. Mario says, hi, Ralph. I hope everything went well with your mother. Yes, they canceled her operation on Monday till November. Thank you, though, Mario. Happy we went. Hang on. Don't go anywhere. Just relax. Everybody calm down. Hey, we want some cookies. Okay. I don't know what the hell that means. Hello, everyone. Hello, Greg. 40 years ago, Congress was debating Two Live Crew's music. Now he's running for Congress. Now that's funny. That was uniquely, genuinely funny because he's absolutely right. In the 90s, Congress was debating on whether to censor these guys, whether it could be played on the radio, and now Luther Campbell's running for Congress down in Florida tonight. Isn't that funny? That was a good line. Love when Teresa's on the show. Thank you. That's very kind. Howard, you're wrong. And I'm editing what he said. I'm trying to ask you guys to be respectful of our regulars. I disagree with all of them at some point or another. There's no reason to call people names. Howard is a dear friend of mine. So knock that crap off. But they said, Howard, you're wrong. In so many words. We're in 2026, not 1980. Take care of our troops. Well, as poorly as you stated it, I agree with you, but we don't have to, call folks names, et cetera, et cetera. But we'll see what happens. I just think that the president is, this all was in the wake of me discussing the president's recent outbursts that the Strait of Hormuz is going to belong to the United States, that we're once again levying tariffs on Canada. We're talking about bombing Oman. And these kids weren't out there long enough. 260 days wasn't enough for a guy who did everything he could to avoid Vietnam. Everything he could, including getting a doctor to lie and claim that he had bone spurs. Unbelievable. We head into the 5. We'll talk about a couple of things. The life and times of Hayden Panettiere. Her mother, her estranged mother, has spoken out to publications. We'll talk about that. And the Lakers sale. I think Jeannie Buss is going to hang on to her 18%. I, in the meantime, would hang around if I you.
Kern Radio, AM 1230, KERN, 96.1 FM, K241CI, Bakersfield, an American General Media station.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Voters in several states weigh key races for governor, Senate, and House races.
Alaska, Florida, and Wyoming hold primaries as California voters pick a successor for Representative Eric Swalwell, who resigned from Congress amid sexual assault allegations earlier this year. In Florida, Trump-backed Byron Donalds is running to become the state's first black governor. Redistricting has created skirmishes for Democrats in Florida House races. Wyoming sees open seats for governor, U.S. Senate, and U.S. House. In Alaska, incumbent Republican Senator Dan Sullivan, a Trump ally, faces another candidate also named Dan Sullivan. These contests will shape the fiercely contested midterms this fall and offer a referendum on President Trump's second term.
Correspondent Julie Walker. President Trump is asserting that the Strait of Hormuz is open for traffic.
President Donald Trump says the U.S. has no planned talks with Iran and insists that the Strait of Hormuz remains open and operating, despite limited traffic and a reported strike on a ship exiting the waterway. Earlier this week, Trump also threatened to bomb Oman as the country sought a deal with Iran to manage shipping traffic through the strait. Iran says the waterway will not reopen until the U.S. meets its conditions. Shipping data platform Kepler says transits fell nearly 20% to the Strait of Hormuz last week. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Recovery efforts are underway in Hawaii after Tropical Storm Lala battered the archipelago and caused destructive flooding and widespread power outages. The storm on Tuesday was moving west far from the island. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 116 points, the S&P 500 lower by 53. More on these stories available at townhall.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-555-2085. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-555-2085 or biglou.com.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update.
A public meeting tomorrow night will give Bakersfield residents a chance to weigh in on the city's growing network of flock license plate cameras. I'm Rob Archer. Police say the cameras help find stolen cars, they track suspects, and they solve crimes faster. Critics say the system raises privacy concerns. They want stronger limits on how that information is collected and shared. The meeting starts at 5:30 tomorrow night at Salon Juarez Hall on East 18th Street. A Kern County homeless recovery leader has helped shape a new national guide for treating addiction among homeless people. Carlos Valdivinas, executive director of the mission at Kern County, joined about 24 professionals from around the country to work on the federal toolkit. He's pushed for longer-term recovery programs, transitional housing, mentoring, and job training. Hot Wheels Monster Trucks Live is coming to Dignity Health Arena this weekend. The Glow and Fire Tour runs Saturday and Sunday with trucks including Bigfoot, Bone Shaker, and Mega Rex, along with freestyle motocross riders. Kern County property owners are being reminded that unsecured property taxes are due by August 31st. Those are taxes on property that is not land or buildings, such as business equipment, boats, and aircraft. Payments after the deadline face a 10% penalty. A 21-year-old woman is facing a second-degree murder charge after a man was stabbed to death Monday afternoon at a home on White Lane. Police say the suspect and the victim knew each other. Temperatures begin climbing again with around 103 expected tomorrow and 106 Thursday before easing back a little Friday. And Amtrak's Gold Runner route through Kern County is getting nearly $43 million in federal money for safety and access improvements, including a new overpass in Shafter. I'm Rob Archer in the Kern Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
To the rest well in a month from now, this Hollywood Big Shot's gonna give you what you want. Too late, they start shooting in a week. I'm gonna make them an offer again with you.
The Ralph Bailey Show, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Final hour of the broadcast on this Tuesday, 18th day of August. This is the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 AM 1230, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com and live on YouTube. Everybody is still talking about Hayden Panettiere as we learn more about her untimely death and her connection with this nitwit Brian Nickerson. It's now been confirmed that Brian and his brother Zach were in the Airbnb where they were living in Greenville, by the way. We weren't in the zip code. What do we say? Greensboro, Greenfield, Greenland, Green Shakes. We said everything but Greenville. And there's no excuse for you. It's me. Like, I don't know, South Carolina, my daddy's home state. I don't know the South. Good googly boogly. But anyway, they were both there. And I told you what TMZ reported, that there were witnesses that saw the two men, the two brothers, outside of the house after the police arrived. And Page 6 was right. The television stations had it wrong. It was 1:50 in the afternoon. The initial reports, as I always remind you guys, are always the most inconsistent and inaccurate. And they were. They said it happened at 1:50 in the morning. It happened in the middle of the afternoon. And they had just gotten to South Carolina. They were spotted leaving LAX because, again, as we talked about whenever we talk about TMZ, I don't know if they have inside information on people's schedules or whether they have, ties to their publicists. Because do you remember the big birth of TMZ?
Honestly, not really.
Oh, it used to be, they would run from them. They'd be like, get away from me. I don't want to talk to you.
Oh, you mean like that? Yeah, I know how they just wouldn't have nothing to do
with it. And then there was this transition where I think Harvey instructed his guys, A, be more polite, be friendlier, don't be confrontational, don't just shove the camera in their face, talk to them first, and then bring up the camera. And then I think the celebrities realized, this is essentially like paparazzi. This is like free advertising. And then the show got really popular. And by the way, whoever told me that it's on the CW, no, it's not. Now, I don't know if the CW produces different shows for Spectrum than it does for Direct, but on Direct TV, TMZ is never on Channel 14, CW. It's just not. So thanks for the misinformation. But they are the ones, they've been owning this story, TMZ has. What does it stand for again?
30-mile radius, or 30-mile zone.
30-mile zone. That apparently she had hidden her reconciliation with this Brian Nickerson. Her mother has spoken out to, I think it was Vogue, and basically said that they were estranged, that there was a period in her career, Hayden's career, where she basically said, and this is according to Hayden, who's talked about this. Remember, she wrote a memoir. You know you're in trouble when you're in your 30s and you're writing your memoirs. You know what I mean? She was an old soul. She'd lived through a lot. And I guess that makes sense when you're in show business at age 10. You know what I'm saying? In fact, here is a clip of Hayden Panettiere. This is a great scene in the film, by the way. And again, if you have not seen Remember the Titans, it's one of the top 10 or 15 sports films. It really is. And it's probably one of the top 10 Denzel Washington films of all time. And this scene, not only is she great, but Denzel is great in this scene. Here is Hayden Panettiere.
You're still weak on the left side.
We're not weak on the left side. We just got to work harder on the left side. That's all.
It's not the problem.
What is the problem?
Think it is, but it ain't. It's your
Tell me what the problem. It's not. It's a run anyway. It's not a pass. The veer is a run, not a
All
pass.
right, you two. That's enough of that. Cheryl, don't you want to play with Nikki? I hate playing with dolls. I'm not playing. I'm accessorizing.
Yeah, why don't you go accessorize? Don't you want to go accessorize with me?
And then she gives Denzel a look like, have you lost your mind? It's a great film and a great scene. And she's a very talented girl. She really was. But she hooked up with this Brian Nickerson. And if you weren't with us yesterday, or if you haven't engaged in this story, he was knocking her around and confessed to it. And she wrote about it in her memoirs. And we played the TMZ interview with Brian Nickerson, where he admitted that he knocked her around. According to her memoirs, he slammed her face into a wall and he punched her face so badly that she didn't leave her apartment for 2 weeks. How these talented, beautiful, successful women latch on to these horrible human beings that absolutely manipulate and ruin their lives, I will never understand. And you know it's bad when, and I've had friends that are in relationships like this, when they go back to an abuser and they keep you a secret. Because apparently they were seen at LAX like last March, but all the publications are reporting that according to their friends, they found out that they've been reconciled for about 2 weeks. And then I guess TMZ spotted him on a flight out of LAX on Saturday, excuse me, and they got to South Carolina, and she died the very next day. Died the very next day. Here is Hayden Panettiere. This is an interview where she's talking about her pain and what she's been through, and you can hear a 30-something human being who's in trouble.
I finally feel like I have shaken off all of this darkness and this negativity, and that means I've closed one door and another door is opened, and I can feel it opened, and I can feel all the possibility, the possibilities, all the exciting possibilities. I feel like I have a lot more life to live.
If I didn't tell you that was Hayden Panettiere, you would have thought that was a 67-year-old woman. I mean, that was just a couple of months ago. And she sounds like she's on her deathbed. And perhaps she was. Maybe it's not Nickerson. Maybe she's been on drugs this whole time. Who knows? But that broke my heart when I heard that late last night. That's why I sent it to you last night. Because as soon as I saw it, I said, let me send this to Chris. I'm definitely going to play this because it just broke me up. It really did. You think you've got life by the tail. You're in Hollywood, awards. She marries one of the greatest boxers. You know, I was checking out Klitschko. He and his brother, I mixed up their brothers. I don't know if I said it on the air, but I know I talked about it with Randy. I may have talked about it with you, that I mixed up the Klitschko brothers for Andrew Galata. Andrew Galata was the guy that quit after 2 rounds with Mike Tyson, and his trainer was trying to put his mouthpiece back in. He kept spitting it out, and he walked out of the palace, and they threw beers and bottles at him. That was not the Klitschkos. The Klitschkos are actually pretty good guys, and they were great boxers. They both were heavyweight champions at one point, 2 brothers that looked like identical twins. And one of the brothers, I think the other brother, not Hayden Panettiere's baby daddy, she had a baby with him who she gave sole custody to, just to show at least she had a head on her shoulders to some degree. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously she didn't have her head on her shoulders because she got addicted to opioids and she died. But at least she recognized, I'm ruining my daughter's life and I have to step out and let my husband raise this child. But his brother was the mayor of Kiev. They're both Ukrainian, obviously. And he's still, since 2014, I think, has been the mayor of Ukraine, Kiev. Here's more. This is older video audio of Hayden Panettiere talking about her introduction to drugs.
It's somebody that represented me, and she introduced me at 15 years old to the happy pill. And I had no idea what door that would open for me, you know, when it came to addiction. As I got older, it became something that I almost couldn't live without. It was alcohol and it was opiates. It became opiates. You're like grasping for anything to make you feel happy, even, and it's usually just for a moment, and then all of a sudden you're sad again, and you're not just sad, but you're feeling worse than you even did before, and it just becomes this horrible cycle, you know, this cycle of just self-destruction. I got myself, you know, to treatment. I finally made that call and said I need help.
I don't know if you've ever lived with or watched or been friends with an addict. I've had 2 that I've known, and it's the most heartbreaking thing in the world because it involves, particularly if it's drugs, it involves going to rehab and slipping, because very few people go to rehab, they come out, and it's over with. It's behind me. There are some, and you may be watching and saying, I did it, Ralph, well, get on your hands and knees and thank your Lord and Savior, because most people go through slips and getting involved in the lifestyle, and it's kind of a cycle until they have to hit rock bottom, as we've heard for decades. And that normally involves jail. That normally involves acting a fool somewhere. It's just a god-awful process that I have witnessed firsthand, and it's just never easy. It's just never, ever easy. And it's never clean. And as much as the family may want this person to go, until they're willing to commit to this, there's nothing you can do. There's absolutely nothing you can do. And it doesn't matter what lifestyle or what the parents did or how intelligent the child is or the person is. It's just one of the most horrendous things in the world to watch, because it impacts the entire family. In fact, I saw a family disintegrate because the other kids felt like their older brother, who was the drug addict, was drawing so much attention from the family that the other three kids felt like they in cahoots. They came together and like, well, what about us? You know, you guys pay no attention to us. You put all this attention to him, and he's a POS. And he burns us every single time. And I saw it absolutely disintegrate a family. And it's worst thing in the world. And she gets back with this guy, and within 2 weeks, she's dead. Just crazy. Let's go ahead and take a break, and we come back. We'll try to squeeze in, or maybe I'll do it at the bottom of the hour. The Lakers sale. I think Jeannie Buss is going to win. I think she's got high-powered attorneys. I think her brothers are a bunch of knuckleheads. They've tried this before. They tried it back in 2017. They tried a power grab to kick their sister out. And she eventually went to court and won and ended up firing them. We'll get into that after the break. Then at the bottom of the hour, the Dodgers have put Edwin Diaz on the IL after a just humiliating night last night. The Dodgers romped in Denver, but they tried to, Doc, being a player's coach, tried to give his ailing closer some confidence, and 11-2 turned into 11-5, and they had to get Tanner Scott up, but finally he got a fly ball to end the damn ball game. But 11-2, and Tanner Scott had to get up in the bullpen. Base hit batter, hard fly ball out, double down the line, base hit up the middle. It was just, and maybe that's what it is. Maybe he's just been injured, Or maybe we're just cursed. I call it the Clayton Kershaw curse, or the Clayton Kershaw. Don't tell me, Kenley Jansen curse. We haven't had a good stopper since Eric Gagne. Good Googling. Quick timeout. Come right back. It's TRBS on a Tuesday right here on Newstalk 96.1, AM 1230, streaming live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1.
Best maker.
First Look with Scott Cox, morning 6 to 9 a.m.
Again, the hoodlum kids on the bicycles. You realize that's the whole idea, right? This is a plea for attention. Every time you make a video and then you put it on social media and everybody watches it, those hoodlum kids win. Because that's all they're looking for is the views. And however dangerous and stupid a thing has to be for them to get their clicks, they're going to do it.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
I literally was just down the hall on my last break talking about the fourth quarter of my life with Rand Dizzle down in the hot studios. And I was telling him just what a 500-pound gorilla I got off my back about 10 years ago when I became a client at Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors. I don't have to worry about the late fourth quarter in my life. Who knows when that could be? That could be tomorrow. That could be 5 years from now. That could be 20 years from now, for all I know. And that's why I suggest you call Daniel at 395-9400. If you're over 50, it's time to start thinking about the late fourth quarter in your life. Become a client of Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors, or just tune in on Thursdays at 4:30 when Daniel joins us with all the information on silver, gold, the deficit, et cetera, et cetera. Daniel Petrie and the folks at Messmaker Petrie Wealth Advisors.
This broadcast is for informational purposes only. It does not constitute investment advice or a solicitation for advisory services by Daniel Petrie or MPWA Incorporated, DBA, Messmaker, and Petrie Wealth Advisors. The program host is a client and receives compensation and other financial benefits in connection with this advertisement, creating a conflict of interest. Experiences discussed may not be representative of other clients.
Are you craving a mouth-watering sandwich just packed with flavor? Then look no further than Caesar's Deli, where they craft some of the best sandwiches in town. Sink your teeth into our signature classic, Caesar's Special, featuring 2 kinds of salami, premium ham, and the irresistible taste of Nona's secret meat sauce. It's a sandwich experience that you won't forget. That's not the only sandwich they offer. No. Satisfy your cravings with a savory smoked turkey sandwich, or indulge yourself with the loaded pastrami. Or for the adventurous eater, they offer pickled tongue. And here's the best part. Caesar's Deli has incredible lunch specials that are designed to fill you up without emptying your wallet. Plus, did you know that Caesar's Deli has a full-service deli offering a variety of over 60 meats and cheeses? It's a sandwich lover's paradise, and that's why Caesar's Deli has been a local favorite and proudly serving Bakersfield since 1971. Visit Caesar's Deli today and taste the difference for yourself. Located at the corner of Brimhall and Callaway, behind the beautiful water fountain.
Are you looking for a hospital that truly cares for your health and well-being? At Good Samaritan Hospital, they provide high-quality medical detox, psychiatric services, and medical and surgical care. They accept most insurances, including Medi-Cal, Medicare, and Kern Family. They offer Kern County's longest-standing inpatient detox program with dual diagnosis that combines medical care and withdrawal management all under one roof. Learn more at GoodSamaritanHospital.com or call 661-215-7500. Good Samaritan Hospital. They care for their community.
In 2026, Bay Alarm celebrates 80 years of security. For the Central Valley, that means local service including burglar and fire alarm systems, 24/7 in-house monitoring, and custom security designed to work with business operations. Bay Alarm has real people rooted in your community looking out for your business. After 8 decades and 3 generations of family ownership, our promise is still the same. We got you. Learn more at bayalarm.com.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Waits for me. Someday soon he'll see I'm the one. I won't give up on this feeling, and nothing could keep me away. 'Cause I still believe in destiny.
What the hell is this? Oh, is this Hayden? Wow. Talented gal. It's very, very sad. I don't have time to get into the Bus family situation. I'll do that at the bottom of the hour. But just to give you a sense of what happened in the 9th inning, I screenshot the sequence. This is what Diaz, 11-2. 11-2 he came in. His first batter, Castro, single to center. Rumfield was hit by a pitch. Norby lined out to center, a hard out to Andy Paez. Amador singled to center, Castro scored, Rumfield went to second. Sullivan singled to center, Amador to second, Rumfield to third. Tavar hit a sacrifice fly to left, Rumfield scored. Veen doubled to right, Amador scored, V. Sullivan to right. And finally, Beck flied out. He gave up 3 runs in 1 inning. His ERA now is, in the last 3 games, 15.38 with 3 blown saves. His ERA for the season is over 11. And I don't know if it's the curse of Kenley Jansen or whether he's injured. I don't know. They put him on the IL today. Thank you, Big Dog, for tightening me up with that. But I don't know what's going on. I have more faith in Tanner Scott, who I assume becomes now the closer, because Diaz isn't even on the ball club. So we'll see tonight. In fact, the ball game gets started. They're in Denver. It starts in about 20 minutes. But we're in deep trouble. And then Eric Karros really, I think, sent a horrible message for Kyle Tucker. He basically said in the middle of the broadcast, I was watching the whole game, and it went viral because there was a scene where Kyle Tucker was sitting by himself in the dugout, and he just had his head down, and then he picked his head back up, and he wiped one of his eyes, and they tried to claim that he was crying. I don't think he was crying, but he was clearly distraught. I mean, he dropped a fly ball. He's a Major League Baseball player, and in the last 3 games, he's dropped balls in 2 of them as he's going 0 for 27. And the crazy thing is, it has to be the Dodger thing. It has to be the LA thing because he's hitting 265 on the road. That's good enough. I mean, it's not for $60 million a year, but we put up with it, 265. But he's got the worst record at home of any baseball player in Major League Baseball. He's hitting $150 at Dodger Stadium. And that's just not going to get it done. And Eric Karros put the mojo on him by saying they need to send him to Arizona. And as I said at the top of the show, at least he didn't say they need to send him down and hit some brown baseballs in Oklahoma City in AAA. Let him ride on a bus for a couple of days. But you can't do that to a vet like Tucker. Maybe you can do that to Kike and Andy Pajes and guys like that, but you can't pay a guy $60 million and then tell him to go ride a bus in Oklahoma City. You know what I'm saying? You say, screw that, I'll hire my own private limo, get to the games. But Carroll said he should go to Glendale and work out whatever the hell's going on because it's just not working. 0 for 27 and $150 on the road, that's untenable. That's unsustainable. And the closer we get to the playoffs, and the more, because as Karros did say on the broadcast last night, both he and Diaz, and maybe even Mookie to some certain degree, have enough time to work out their situation. Again, as I said in April, remember this, I said this in April, we don't give a damn about the regular season. We are a September, October ball club. So if Tucker can pull his head out of his behind and contribute in the playoffs and help us get back to the World Series, it's the Guggenheim's money. What do we care? $60 million for 4 years? $240 million? It's the stupidest deal I've ever heard, but it is what a TI is. We'll talk about Jeannie Buss when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Congressman Byron Donalds has won the Republican nomination for Florida governor. Former Representative David Jolly won the Democratic nomination, setting the stage for a November contest to replace outgoing Governor Ron DeSantis. In Tuesday's primary, State Representative Angie Nixon won the Democratic nomination for U.S. Senate, defeating Alex Vindman. She will face Senator Ashley Moody, who won the Republican nomination for a special election. They are competing to finish the final 2 years of Marco Rubio's term. The primaries are defining a midterm ballot set to test President Donald Trump's grip on his adopted state. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 116 points, the Nasdaq dropping 355, the S&P 500 lower by 53. More details at srnnews.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Headlines from the KERN Newsroom.
I'm Bob Archer. A Kern County homeless recovery leader has helped write a new national guide for treating addiction among homeless people. Carlos Baldovinas, who runs the mission at Kern County, worked with about 24 people from around the country. The guide focuses on longer-term recovery, transitional housing, mentoring, and helping people find work. A public meeting tomorrow night will give Bakersfield residents a chance to weigh in on the city's flock license plate cameras. They say the cameras help solve crimes. Critics raise privacy concerns. The meeting starts at 5:30 at Salon Juarez Hall. Hot Wheels Monster Trucks Live comes to Dignity Health Arena this weekend. The Glow and Fire Tour runs Saturday and Sunday. Bakersfield should reach around 100 today, with hotter weather returning tomorrow and Thursday. I'm Rob Archer in the current newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-924-7415. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-924-7415. 800-924-7415. 800-924-7415.
Maxwell in the morning. Good till the last mic drop.
The state of California needs money because of the way we've been spending our Medicare money. They decided that we need to talk to you guys about this. How about if we withhold $867 million from you? Will that get your attention? You now have the Trump administration, and they have bigger expectations of you. So if you can't deliver, they ain't going to deliver either.
Weekdays 9 to noon. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230.
We got breaking news out of Florida. It's only 8:30 in Florida. However, Fox News is declaring Congressman Byron Donalds, the African-American Republican who is backed by Donald Trump, who is taking on Jay Collins, the sitting lieutenant governor, who is backed by outgoing governor Ron DeSantis. Byron Donalds is your Republican nominee for governor. He will now take on David Jolie, who is winning with about 62% of the Democratic vote. And this is going to be a fascinating race. And Byron Donalds could screw around and become Florida's very first African-American governor. I've always been a fan of this guy. First got turned on to him during Kevin McCarthy's, what? Why does the bossy keep bad-mouthing you and JR and your station? It's on Facebook again right now. Why do my friends highlight idiots like David Abbasi and then ask me why he's doing it? Here, let me tell you why David Abbasi is bad-mouthing me. How the hell do I know what is in the mind of David Abbasi? Really? Anybody? As I told somebody who I was talking about this with last night, it is a compliment to have a certified nut say bad things about you. I was going to leave it alone, but of course, somebody's going to interrupt my show to ask me about somebody bagging on me. I just don't understand people. I really don't. But since we're in the midst of this, I will deal with it. Abbasi went on the air. That was Abbasi who called.
Yeah, I figured that out today.
Did you know that at the time?
At the time, no.
I didn't either. But then when he went on Facebook, I kind of put it together. And isn't David Abbasi still facing the 911 charges?
I honestly have no idea.
Where he was calling 911 over and over and over and over and over again. But you know what? I like having David Abbasi in our community as a radio talk show host because he's entertaining as hell. Let me just tell you what he put on Facebook. Hang on a second. Thanks, Anthony, by the way. Thanks for bringing that to my attention. Next time somebody's talking smack about you, I'll call you and ask you, why is somebody talking smack about you? I don't understand why people want to bring that to your attention. It's like, don't you have anything better to do? No, I guess not. So David Abbasi put on, Ralph Bailey cut me off on air intentionally, suppressing evidence of crimes. Shame on him. At the Board of, well, he goes on and has this long thing about where he says, I should be locked up. I should be jailed. He said, yet here's violence, conflict of interest laws and government. Ralph Bailey owes me another apology again for interrupting me while I'm trying to provide proof of crimes. He is intentionally suppressing evidence of crimes and should be held criminally liable. That is a grown-ass man who has to figure out how to pay his bills and feed himself, and how he is living and moving around is amazing, because I think this guy is certifiable. And the reason I was about to go into saying that I like David Abbasi is because he's great fodder for news. Yeah, Julie Solis. These nut jobs are great radio fodder. They really are. And Abbasi he's lucky that people don't sue him. He's a gnat on people's ass. So nobody really pays attention to him other than the Facebook warriors that live on Facebook and read everything that everybody says and comments and reacts to everything that everybody says. And it is really a degradation of our society. It really is. These keyboard warriors like David Abbasi and others that read this nonsense. And it's not, and it'd be different if it was smart. Like, he's saying that I should be held criminally liable because I wouldn't let him talk on our radio show. And really, the truth of the matter is, it was a hard break, wasn't it, Chris? It was at the top of the hour. Bowers was about to come on at 4:00, and we just ran out of time. Although, let me be honest, had it not been a hard break, I still would have cut him off. He absolutely slandered Michael Bowers. He was lying just about everything that came out of his pie hole, which is the David Abbasi way. He's about as dishonest as the day is long. And I'm actually shocked that I'm taking this amount of time to talk about this nut. But it's every community has one. You know, it's unfortunate we've got about 7 or 8. We might even have one working here, but it's sad. It really is. That these guys have nothing in their lives, and this is what they feel. That I should be criminally held liable for suppressing evidence. Well, if you've got evidence of a crime, Mr. Abbasi, why don't you take it to the district attorney? Why would you take it to a radio talk show host and try to insist that he should be held criminally liable? Why don't you take it to, I don't know, law enforcement? If you've got hard, solid evidence that someone committed a crime, I would think you would let our top cop take a look at it. And I'm probably certain that you have, and that she laughed you out of Truxton Avenue. You need some help, Mr. Abbasi. You truly, truly do, sir. I really, in all sincerity, you really need to be in therapy. It's sad because a guy with your energy would be a help to our community, but you aren't right. You just aren't. And good luck with those 911 charges. To be blunt, I hope they throw you in jail. I do, because you need some jail time to straighten you up. Birthday, my son lives in Colorado. We met here to watch the Dodgers. Family was a bonus. Mario is in Denver tonight.
Nice.
Watching the Dodger game. At, what's the name of that stadium in Denver?
Coors, yeah.
Coors Field. Look at that. Can you guys see that? It's I'd have to come up there. Maybe I'll come up there after the break and show you Mario and his lovely family, his beautiful daughter, who once hooked us up with Sweet Seats, Suite. She used to work for Frank McCourt. And it was 4th of July, as a matter of fact. In the meantime, Jeannie Buss is in the fight of her life yet again, and unfortunately fighting family. Is there anything worse than feuding family? Particularly when it's the nuclear family. Like, I've seen families, like there was a time when our families didn't get along in-law wise. That's kind of typical family stuff. You know what I mean? Your mother hates me. She hates my cooking, you know, that kind of thing. But for siblings to be going at it, and, you know, as we talked about at the top of the show, the smartest person in the family was the mother, was Jerry Buss's mother, Jeannie's grandmother. She was the one, I believe she was an accountant, and she was the one that did the books and kind of manipulated the books to help Jerry Buss, who really didn't have the money to buy the Lakers, the Kings, the Forum, but through some shrewd maneuvering and some arguably legal or illegal maneuvering, he leveraged himself up to his eyeballs. And, you know, Jerry Buss, who's was a big poker player, got a royal flush the first year he owned the Lakers. Kareem goes down in game 6 against the Philadelphia 76ers, and this brash rookie from East Lansing says, I played center in high school. I can play center. And we go to Philly, and Magic tells the players, don't bring one suit. Kareem went down in game 5. It was game 6 that we went to Philly without Kareem. And Magic told them, there's not going to be a game 7. Bring one suit. I'm taking this home. And Magic, if you've never heard this story, it's a great story. They're all freaked out. Kareem hurts his ankle at the end of game 5. He comes back. He has a huge game, and then it swells up. Because if you ever twisted an ankle, Chris, you can play on it that day, like the day you sprain it or you twist it or you turn it. Unless it's a high ankle sprain, then you just can't walk. But you can play through an ankle sprain. But then when you take off that shoe, it swells up and there's just no walking on it. And that's exactly what happened to Kareem, because Kareem actually finished game 5. He left. They wrapped it up really, really tightly, came back, had like 33 points, helped us win, put us up 3-2, and then just couldn't even fly to Philly. Didn't even fly to Philly. And so Magic tells the story, a lot of the Lakers tell the story, that Kareem had a seat. They were flying charter by now. And there was a seat that Captain sat in, way up front, right in the middle. And Magic gets there early and sits in the seat with his boombox and his one suit. And as the players are coming on, said, don't worry about it. Magic's here. I got this. I'm in Cap's seat. I got this. And the kid had one of the greatest nights of his life, of his entire career. 42 points. I can't remember specifically. 17 rebounds, 9 assists. We win it in Philly. And all of Jerry Buss's financial issues are over. We are the world champions. And now you can't get a seat in the 17505 Forum. You couldn't get a seat. And then they maneuvered and figured out, what can we add to this? We've got Showtime. And it was Jerry Buss who came up with the idea, or it might have been Jeannie. It might have been Jeannie that came up with the idea. Let's start cheerleaders. Let's start, we call them, what do we call them? The Laker girls. And now he's got an out-of-control hit. Every celebrity in Hollywood wants to be on the floor, and all his money problems are behind him. Because think if they go 41-41 and don't make the playoffs, Buss would have had to sell that team. There's no way he could have leveraged that team out had they not had the immediate success that they had. And he realized, of my 6 children, Jeannie is the smartest. And she was the one who was on board from the get-go. She was a young kid working for her dad, while the boys were off spending his money. And so when it came to crunch time, close to his death, and he wanted this thing to continue and thrive, he picked the 3rd smartest person in his family, and that was his daughter. And so then there was the family infighting because she named her brother head of basketball operations and then whacked him. And then that's when the drama started. And then when they sold to the Mark Walter Group, there was a thing called a tag-along, which is my understanding. I'm trying to explain to you as it was explained to me by the experts. But the tag along basically meant that if the Walter Group sold, the Bus family would get the same dough that they are selling for. You see what I'm saying? They couldn't sell it separately and keep their 17.8% out of the $12 billion sale. And the 5 other kids were happy with the $2.5 billion they were going to walk away from, but Jeannie wasn't. Jeannie wanted to keep the team and her family. Here is, did you get the audio I sent? Here is Jeannie Buss.
You ever see a scenario where the Lakers aren't in your family?
I can't imagine that. That's not the way it should be.
Yeah.
So, and there's really no reason for the team not to be. So.
And talk about the lengths your dad went to in terms of transferring assets, et cetera, to figure out how to pass the team down, given tax implications.
You know, he was very forward thinking, and it was important to him to keep the team in the family. So what he did was he created a trust and transferred ownership stock of the team into the trust. And as each transfer occurred, he would pay the taxes at that time.
And he went to each of his kids before he passed away asking, basically, if you guys want him to hold on to it or sell it. And everybody was pretty much universal in wanting to keep it.
Yeah, I mean, and it was really his decision to make. And I'd have supported him in whatever he decided. It was really a labor of love that, he did for us on our behalf. And so I really appreciate that he did that.
I don't think the boys ever saw Jeannie emerging as now governor until 2030, if in fact the contract stays intact. I don't think Bob Iger or Josh Kushner are as sympathetic or as, that's not a really good word, they're not as on board with Jeannie Buss as was the Walter Group. That's just I have no idea what I'm talking about. No idea. I haven't talked to anybody. Nobody's told me that. I haven't read that anywhere. That's just my gut feeling. You know what I mean? Because it's been my experience, and I was the victim of this, that when a new boss comes in, they want to win with their people. And one of the times that I got whacked in television was when Christopher Westerkamp left. They brought in a new general manager, and I got fired 2 weeks later. Now, maybe that's a coincidence. Maybe I was just a bad reporter, bad weekend anchor. I don't know. But that's commonplace. It really is. When new people come in, they want to win with their people. They don't want the Buss family, kind of lingering into the Bob Iger, Josh Kushner era. You know what I'm saying? So I think Jeannie's going to win. She claims that they put a void on it, her attorneys have, and she claims that unless the 3 main kids, Joey, Jeannie, and Janie, her sister, she claims they all have to unanimously agree on the sale or it can't be sold. Jeannie always wins. She won back in 2017. She won when her dad died. She won back in 2017 when she whacked one of her brothers and they tried to send a coup. And she also claims that her brothers have been spitting out anonymous stuff to the press, bagging on her and the team and LeBron. And so my guess is Jeannie Buss is going to win. Now, what winning looks like and what her role is as, quote, governor until 2030 under the Iger-Kushner group, I think that's anybody's guess. I think only Bob Iger and Josh Kushner really know that. Final break of the night. Keep it locked. Scott Jennings at the top of the hour. Tomorrow's a Wednesday. The folks from Adaptive Networks, Jennifer and Ryan Van Alstyne, will join us live in studio. In the meantime, you are listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1, AM 1230. We're streaming live at currentradio.com. Siri.
Kern Radio.
She actually said Coconut Joe's. She normally says Joe's Coconut. I can make an order to go. Ralph? What is a two-piece chicken with beans and rice, no bread, and 2 sauces, please? That's it. All dark. All dark. What's that? Yes. Great, thank you. You ready? 3, 2. So Edwin Diaz, who's holding an ERA, our closer, with an ERA of over 11, has finally been put on the IL. I don't know if he's injured or they just got tired of sending him out there, but we've got some holes. We need a catcher. We need Will Smith back, and Tanner Scott has got to step it up, or that three-peat is gone in the wind. 3, 2. It's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Wednesday TRBS. Well, it is a Wednesday, so we'll talk with the folks from Adaptive Networks. Jennifer and Ryan Van Alstyne will join us. Plus, Ray Mata and Gabriel Bustamante, allegedly killers of Genesis Mata, are due in court. We'll have the facts on that for you as well. All that plus me at 3. It's TRBS, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. I'll see you at 3.
548. That's 800-498-6548. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
We wouldn't be celebrating America 250 if it wasn't for a strong foundation set by the framers. Hamilton built Americans' financial foundation on the principle of sound, stable money, a principle later embodied by the gold standard. However, we abandoned that discipline in 1971 and have since seen inflation erode the dollar's value. This is Stephen K. Bannon. What is the foundation of your savings? Birch Gold Group has been helping Americans solidify their savings with gold for the past 15 years. They help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold. With an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau and countless 5-star reviews, let Birch Gold help build your foundation with gold. To learn more, get your free info kit from Birch Gold by texting SECURE to 989898. That's SECURE to 989898. Take a stand for your financial future. Text SECURE to 989898 right now to receive your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold Group.
Message and data rates may apply. Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the
got 49% of the vote compared to the lieutenant governor of the state of Florida, 25%. Brian Donalds damn near doubled the score on Jay Collins, the sitting lieutenant governor. And you know who's going to crow like a rooster? Wow, Corey Mills lost his primary. I didn't really talk about him. He's involved with the ethics probe. He's damaged goods, but he's out. But Byron Donalds winning that gubernatorial race is a big, big deal. And again, we'll pay close attention tonight to Debbie Wasserman Schultz. She got redistrict out of her 25th congressional district down in Florida. She'd been placed in a black district in the 20th district, which includes Sheila Sherfolis McCormick, the woman who was run out of her prior congressional seat because of ethics problems. In other words, she's a crook, but she's black and it's a black district, so she's running. They've got a 27-year-old Elijah Manley, who is a Democratic socialist. They've got Luther Campbell, who's part of the most controversial rap group of the 90s, where they had a song that was a hit, and I literally can't say the title of the song on the air. That's how bad it was. And one of the most classic comments out of the chat room today was, what did he say? I don't want to turn around and read it because I only got a minute, but he said something like, in the 90s, Congress was investigating Two Live Crew and Luther Campbell. Now, in the 21st century, he's running for Congress, which is the funniest line in the world. Hopefully, we'll get some quick numbers here before we get out of here. Corey Mills lost to Ryan Elijah, 47-34. It was not very close. Seeing a lot of, I said this about 3 or 4 months ago, as some of the loyal listeners may remember, it's a bad time to be an incumbent. It really is, no matter what side of the party you're on. But you know who'll be crowing like a rooster? Donald Trump. Wow, Jared Moskowitz held on. Jared Moskowitz, a Democrat, was going against a Democratic socialist, Oliver Larkin, and Moskowitz destroyed him, 64-36. They've declared him the winner already. And again, it's only 9 o'clock in Florida. How come all these other states can declare winners hours after the polls close? But here in California, it takes us weeks. Let me see if we can get some numbers on that 20th district race with Debbie Wasserman Schultz and all the other black folks before we get out of here. Come on, Fox. Show me the 20th. Or Chris, can you look that up real quick in the next 30 seconds? Probably not. Probably not. Come on, Fox. Well, we'll have it for you tomorrow, along with Jennifer and Ryan Van Alstyne. But in the meantime, for Chris Burdick, I'm Ralph Bailey. That's what's really going on. Wrap to you tomorrow.
Kern Radio, AM 1230, KERN. 96.1 FM, K241CI Bakersfield, an American General Media station.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Congressman Byron Donalds has won the Republican nomination for Florida governor, and former Representative David Jolly won the Democratic nomination, setting the stage for a November contest to replace outgoing Governor Ron DeSantis. In Tuesday's primaries, State Representative Angie Nixon won the Democratic nomination for U.S. Senate, defeating Alex Vindman. She will face Senator Ashley Moody, who won the Republican nomination for a special election. They are competing to finish the final 2 years of Marco Rubio's term. The primaries are defining a midterm ballot set to test President Trump's grip on his adopted state. For Congress, Tuesday's biggest fight involved longtime Democratic U.S. Representative Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who defeated former U.S. Representative Sheila Sherfolis McCormick and others in a redrawn South Florida district. Luigi Mangioni's state murder trial is postponed indefinitely amid a double jeopardy fight.
Luigi Mangioni's state murder trial and the killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was slated to begin September 8th, but it's now on indefinite hold as his lawyers seek to have the case thrown out on double jeopardy grounds following his guilty plea last week to federal charges. Judge Gregory Caro issuing an order canceling the state trial and giving the Manhattan DA's office until October 9th to respond. The DA had said they wanted to go forward. Meanwhile, Mangione